welcome back to yet another BS podcast. I'm Jeremy, here as always with my co-host Dalton. How you been this week, Dalton?
I've been busy, man. I've been doing a lot of editing, a lot of posting podcasts, and a lot of cooking. Had the family over for Mother's Day and stuff this week.
Nice.
Which, if you're a listener and you're a mother, happy Mother's Day.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Belated, but still. Also, like yesterday, I don't know what I did, man, but if I move my head slightly to the right, my left shoulder blade feels like somebody's sticking a knife into it. So that's great. That's fun.
That's called getting old.
It's fucking terrible. I'm like, and it was like, I swear to God, I grabbed like a big bowl of pasta salad out of the fridge and just like set it on the counter, and I was just fucked after that. I'm like, how? I don't understand how that happened.
Yeah, that's what sucks about getting old. It's not like, oh, I was playing tackle football with the boys, or I was fighting somebody. It's like, no, I slept wrong. My pillow wasn't fluffed up as much as it should be, so now I can't walk for 2 days.
Yeah, dude, it fucking blows, man. It makes me think of Kevin James used to have this joke where he was like, he's like, I'm a fat guy, and we sweat really easily. He's like, it doesn't take much. He goes, one time my friends come over, and they looked at me and they go, jeez, have you been fucking jumping rope in the attic? He's like, well, I mean, I peeled an orange an hour ago. I'm just cooling off from that.
Yep.
And yeah, it's the same thing with like just getting old. It's like it doesn't take much. Like I'm fat and getting old, so it doesn't take much to make me sweat and just hurt. So yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
Of course, it's my luck because my knees are finally starting to feel a little better. My lower back, I did enough stretching that feels a little better, and now I got this. So this.
That's the thing. Once you reach a certain age, like, the pain doesn't go away; it just moves somewhere else. There's just a steady pain in your body. It just moves to a different part of your body.
This little tennis ball has become my best friend because I take it and put it between me and the wall and roll it around on my shoulder blade, and it gives me a relief for like 5 minutes before it starts coming back and hurting again. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man. Other than that, I have not been doing shit this week, but playing some games. I am working my way towards max level in Final Fantasy 11. It's 99 and I'm at 87, so almost there. Almost there.
Fun
That's what
stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, and you, sir, making me wake up and do this at 9 o'clock in the fucking morning. So I went to bed early last night because I was like, I'm gonna get a nice sleep, and then I'll be up for the show, and then I'll take a nap and I'll do the steam machine later. I ended up sleeping for like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours, and woke up, could not go back to sleep. So I've been awake since like, I don't know, 5 o'clock.
Oh, that sucks.
So that's I've just been like playing games, waiting to hear from you.
That's another reason I was like, man, we got to record this morning because Dalton got up or stayed up to do this. Because for the listeners, I already talked to Dalton about it. My kid ended up being sick this morning, so he stayed home from school. So now I'm like trying to appease him in the living room so he stays quiet and we can actually record the show.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Family duties.
Oh, so if you hear a little voice, it's just mini me not listening and following direction.
Oh, who would have thought that a kid of yours would have a problem with authority? I was like,
oh
yeah. Yeah, man. So I got to tell this story, and I'm going to use some very strong language when I do this. So I apologize, especially to any of our female listeners, for what I'm about. So, okay. Growing up, I knew this girl named Crystal. Okay. I believe I was the first person who ever had sex with this girl. Right. I was like her only friend for a long time. And she went through a lot of stuff when she was younger, man. Like a lot of bullying and things like that. And I was always defending her and stuff, and talked her out of committing unalive more than, to put it a nice way, more than once. And she's always been like a good friend of mine, but she's always very blunt, right? Oh, yeah. And it's gotten worse as she's gotten older, to where it went from she's being blunt to she's just being very, very like I'm better, like a high horse type thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
and it makes me think of that fucking song The Noose by Perfect Circle, where it's like, not to pull your halo down around your neck and tug you off your cloud, but you know. But she sends me a message the other day, or I'm sorry, she showed up in my People You May Know, because me and her decided a long time ago that we get along a lot better if we're not friends on Facebook. But I figured I would add her, message her, and talk to her, and when we got tired of seeing each other's posts, we could again just unfriend each other, right? This did not take long at all. So I sent her a friend request. She didn't even accept it. She messages me and she says, after not talking to me for years, why the random friend request? And I was like, well, because we haven't talked for years. I figured I'd check in and see how you were doing and stuff. And she's like, oh, I'm doing great. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm with my new girlfriend, all of that. And like, she looks like she's lost some weight, and she's always been a very, very pretty girl in the face, right?
Yeah.
But now she's got like short hair. I guess she's doing like the whole lesbian thing, which is cool. Like Seinfeld, not there's anything wrong with that. More power to you. So she's like talking to me about like her life is all great and all this stuff. So she asked me how I'm doing. She's like, did you ever move out of your parents' house? And I was like, well, fun fact. I was like, yes, I did at one point. I was living with my ex. I was like, but then I lost my job and we broke up. So I moved back home and I was saving up money. And then I lost the job at the restaurant. You know, I said between COVID and then I didn't go into the story of how all like the fight between I didn't go into all that with her because I could care less, you know, about her knowing all the details. So I just basically said, you know, during COVID, I lost my job. And she basically replied back, and did I send you a screenshot, Jeremy, or did I just kind of give you a general up? Okay, so either way, she was like basically said that I'm a loser and that she found 4 jobs during COVID, and 2 of them had furloughed her, but they brought her back because she was so good at her job and all this type of stuff, and that I need to grow the fuck up, basically.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, for one, yes, we haven't talked in years, and I wonder why. 2, bitch, I was trying. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and 3, I've literally been turned down for jobs around here because I'm a dude. There's like 2 or 3 places in this town that they only hire women. And how what am I supposed to do about that? What the fuck? Like, I don't want to go get a concrete laying job or something like that. That's just not in my body can't handle that shit anymore. I did all that kind of shit in my 20s. Now that I'm 30, I'd like a nice desk job or just having to deal with people, even though I fucking hate them. I can do that. I can do customer support all day. You know, customer service. I mean, not customer support, but customer service. But to call me a fucking loser because I lost my job and then haven't been able to find another one, like, where the fuck do you get off?
Yeah, for sure.
Like am I being a dick? And I blocked her. I basically wrote her back and told her to enjoy your fucking high horse, and I just blocked her. Yeah,
no, I don't blame you, because like I hate that shit where people judge you based on where you're at currently.
Yeah, and you know, she doesn't know that, you know, I had money and then I spent it all on my ex, and then she left me when I didn't have any money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like she doesn't know that I lost my job because of her, and then this other job that I had I lost for nothing that had to do with me. Literally nothing.
Yep.
What the fuck? It fucking. I was livid. That day. Just all day. I was fucking mad about that.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Like, I remember I ran into you. I ran into Nate and Willie about it. I think I ran into Hazel about it. Like, I was I was just ranting to anybody who'd listen. I was so mad. Yeah, man. What have you been up to this week?
Been a fairly uneventful week. I did finish a couple of shows I've been watching. Speaking of See You Next Tuesdays, I watched that show Inventing Anna on Netflix. It's for anyone who doesn't know, it's a biopic, so it's loosely based on a true story of basically a New York socialite con woman who...
I haven't heard about this.
She came to America. She was Russian, living in Germany. She came to America and basically telling everyone she had a trust fund waiting for her in Germany, and, you know, polished the right knobs and stuff, and ended up in this group of like New York socialite elite. And like, dude, fuck this chick. Like, the whole way through it, I hated her. Like, cause she's one of those people that's like 30 times in this show, she goes, "Do you know who I am?" And it's like, bitch, like you've been kicked out of 4 hotels for staying there for weeks without paying. Like, you're in prison for screwing people out of money. Like, no, you're nobody. That's who you are.
I hate a motherfucker who says, "Do you know who I am?"
Oh, yeah.
Like, the only people who should say that are bad guys in movies and heels on wrestling. Like, other than that, if you say that, you're a fucking asshole.
I mean, it's like, I don't know if you remember several years ago, there was some, like, congresswoman or something that they had dash cam footage where she'd gotten pulled over for some traffic thing, and she screams at the cop like, "Do you know who I am?" And it's like, it doesn't fucking matter who you are. You got pulled over for breaking the law. Like, the law applies to everyone.
You're not above the law because you fucking work in the government. Like,
yeah. But like, this chick like screws over a bunch of people. Like, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it and wants to, but she screws one of her friends out of like $63,000 on her credit card. And she's always just like, oh, I'll have my father send a wire transfer. And that's bullshit, because her dad's like nobody. He doesn't have she doesn't have a trust fund and shit. And if you haven't watched it and you like that kind of, like, especially biopics is one of my favorite genres of movie or TV show. Because, you know, it tells you a true-ish story. They embezzle it a little bit, or not embellish it a little bit for
they might embezzle it.
They might. But yeah, they embellish it a little bit for the dramatic factor to actually get people to jump in. But it's mostly a true story. It's a little more exciting than a lot of the documentaries. But yeah, dude, it's a fucking crazy story. I also finished, last night was the last episode of Winning Time on HBO, which is the biopic based on the Showtime Lakers of the early 80s, with Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That, even if you don't like basketball, that show is fucking amazing. Adam McKay directs it. He was like the director of Step Brothers and, I think Talladega Nights, like all the Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly shit. John C. Reilly plays Jerry Buss, who bought the Lakers in like 79. The cast is phenomenal. Dude, it's just such a fucking good show. There's like fourth wall breaking in it. There's all this like Adam McKay signature shit through the show that just works. So yeah, even if you don't like basketball, the show is amazing.
And what's it called?
It's called Winning Time. It's on HBO Max. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck, I don't have HBO Max, but I'm sure I could find a way to watch it.
Yeah, probably so.
You know, with the internet and its ways.
We have a podcast, so we get those like media access to this stuff. Yeah, we'll go with that.
You know what's funny is I've had multiple discussions with people. You said biopics have to like, embellish certain things. Dude, I've always thought, and I know a lot of people say this, like, oh, I could have a movie about my life, and I think I've seen enough that I could at least get one season, like a short, like an 8-episode season, because you could just pack all the ridiculous shit I've been through into this 8 episodes, and I bet it makes some money. It might not make a lot of money, but it makes some money. Because between the time that I got drunk and at my buddy's house, and then they all the 3 of those dudes started fucking, and I was just too drunk to do anything, and I was too young to like call my parents and be like, I'm drunk as fuck, come pick me up. I messaged my buddy Emmett, and he's just like, ew, and signs off AOL. I was like, fuck, thanks for the help, bro. Like,
that sucks.
Yeah, it's just little stories like that, and I'll go into detail about that one day. But just, I'm like, fuck, if I was a writer, I really need to practice my writing, because I'd like to write fantasy. I really would like to. And I think that if I were to sit down and take the experiences that I've been through and somehow morph them into fantasy style stuff, it could be entertaining. But it would have to be an adult animation show, if anything. Because like we were talking about last week, a series where like it's not on TV, so you can curse, you can show the fucked up shit. Anyway. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been watching much lately, dude. I mostly just watch YouTube. Like, as weird as that sounds, like I just like I'll throw on a documentary on YouTube. Like, I've been watching pieces of this one about Daggerfall, Elder Scrolls 2, and the video is about 4 hours long. So I'm about an hour and a half into it. You know what I mean? Where I'll watch a little bit of it and then I'll put on something else. Normally I'm watching like PlayStation Access or Outside Xbox, PC Gamer, stuff like that. Or one that I want to give everyone, if you're into the history of gaming and PC gaming in particular, there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Matt Barton, Barton, and he does a series called Matt Chat, where he goes back and visits these old RPG games and plays them and kind of shows you how they play and stuff. But he also has interviews with developers and stuff. And his most recent interview was with Bruce Nesmith, who used to be a big wig at TSR and then Bethesda. He worked on Skyrim, he worked on Morrowind, he worked on Oblivion. Or no, I'm sorry. I think he worked on Daggerfall, but not Morrowind. And then he worked on Oblivion and Skyrim. Anyway, doesn't matter. The dude's a legend in the computer gaming business, and it's just It's cool to see these interviews and stuff. So yeah, definitely check out Matt Chat on YouTube. So one of our notes I'm curious about, sir. So I'm going to go ahead and just ask you about it. What is this about the Statue of Liberty?
So there was a recent story about the Spider-Man No Way Home movie. For anyone who hasn't seen it, there's a scene at the Statue of Liberty. Apparently, China refused to show the movie because they told Disney they wanted the Statue of Liberty removed from the movie before they would let it be shown in China. And Disney was basically like, fuck you, we're not doing that. And dude, I give major props to Disney for that because I can understand little things in movies being removed, but this was a monumental, this was probably, for anyone who's seen it, a good 20 to 30 minute integral to the story scene that it would have probably cost them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to CG all of that into something different. So I like the fact that they were basically fuck you, China, we'll make the money we need without you, because the movie still was I think the second highest grossing movie of all time, second or third, it was up there. And kudos to them too, man, because and I wonder how much of that has to do with, and I'm sure not a lot, but maybe a smidgen of how much shit South Park gave just the media, Hollywood media in general, of just giving in to China. Dude, honestly, I don't even think it's that. I think it's just that Disney was like, it's going to cost too much money, so we don't care. Because at the end of the day, all they give a fuck about is money. If they thought they'd have made more money in the Chinese market than it would have cost to change that scene, they would have done it in a heartbeat. But I think they probably did what's it called? Like a cost risk analysis or something. And there's a term for it. I can't think of it off the top of my head because I'm tired as shit too. But they probably figure we probably won't make that much more money in China than it would cost to redo this entire integral scene. So we're just going to leave it in and tell China go fuck themselves. Because at the end of the day, corporations care about money. That's all they really care about.
But Disney could set a precedent. You know what I mean? If they wanted to, they don't do that. So then these other studios start standing up to China, and eventually that issue could go away. If all the American cinema and stuff just started being no, we're not going to conform to what you guys want. We're going to conform, to do what we always do. And we believe that we could still, and if Spider-Man might have been proof that if the movie is a good enough concept, you don't have to bend to the will of China to get your movie out. You know what I mean?
True. I will say though, I feel like this Spider-Man movie in particular is a bit of an anomaly. I wouldn't use it as a baseline because it was the first major Marvel movie that was exclusively in theaters since the pandemic. It was, not to spoil anything in it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. There was major fan service, plot devices in it and stuff. The movie made $1 billion based on the hype for it, I guess I would say. Now, don't get me wrong, it was an amazing movie. I really enjoyed it, but it was definitely set up to be a monumental blockbuster. Yeah. And I'll say this, I was reading an article once about a guy, it was basically one of those listicles about people that Americans living in foreign countries or foreigners living in America. Guy said, he lived in America. He worked in customer service for 15 years, something like that. He's like, and as well as I do, when some Karen comes in and is bitching and complaining in America, your manager will tell you, just give her a coupon, just give her a discount, whatever, just satisfy the customer. Apparently in Europe, that's not the case. He said he worked in Europe, and they said if you come in the store and you bitch, the manager's going to tell you if you don't like it, go shop somewhere else. And that's how I feel like it should be over here. Like, we should stop catering to these entitled pieces of shit that are like, oh,
Agreed.
well, my coupon expired 2 years ago, but you still need to honor it, or I'm going to leave you a bad Yelp review. And it's like, I'd be like, leave me a fucking Yelp review then. Get the fuck out of my store. Like, because these people, you're not going to satisfy them no matter what you do unless you actively lose money to save them money. And at the end of the day, that's hurting businesses. We need to band together and say, fuck this group of people.
Agreed. Because I don't know how many times I had to fucking deal with that when I was working the customer service desk at Hobbies and stuff. People would be like, well, this coupon should work. Well, this coupon expired a week ago.
Yep.
But it was in this week's paper. I bet it wasn't.
Yeah. It's like, no, you got last week's paper confused with this week's paper.
Yeah, or you're lying to me straight up. Just like, I'm not. People just assume that everyone's stupid or something. I don't know. And it's because people around here are fucking stupid.
Dude, a local GameStop manager told me a story. She said, kid came in for an interview at the store, right? And he was just a fucking horrible candidate for the job, right? So he leaves, calls back like 2 weeks later to see if he got the job. She's like, sorry, we filled the position already. This motherfucker had the audacity to ask her if he was going to get compensated for driving out there for the interview. And it's like, bitch, you came to a minimum wage video game store job. Yeah. Like, yeah, no, go fuck yourself.
Fucking A. I can understand if you had to fly to another state to go for an interview at a big place and you didn't get the job and they compensate you for the ticket or whatever. But just driving to GameStop, what the fuck?
Most of those jobs though, like if they headhunt you for a job out of state or whatever, they usually fly you out, put you in a hotel room and all of that stuff because they want you, like they're trying to steal you from another company, so they're going to try to entice you to come over.
Google did that to my brother.
Nice. I do remember one horror story. Some lady moved from New York to Seattle to start a job, sold her apartment, sold all her stuff, moved over, gets an apartment in Seattle, gets set up, goes to her first day of work, and they lay her off.
Ooh, brutal.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
That would suck.
I can't imagine that. That would just be absolutely horrible.
Yeah, that would be ass, man. That's like when WWE brought Eric Bischoff back and he moved to Connecticut and then he got fired 2 months later.
Yep.
He went back home to Wyoming. Dude, I tell you, the town that I live in is starting to really get fucking bad. Just local restaurant talk made me think of this, local places, people, stupidity. I don't know. I'm tired. The place that I go and get cheeseburgers, I don't know if I sent you I think I showed you the picture in Discord. You saw that picture of that big fucking burger that I got? That was the burger of the month, the Belly Buster, right?
Oh, yeah.
There are people in this town that posted in the word of mouth group. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clarify. I got kicked out and banned from all of the Keystone word of mouth groups because I did not hesitate to let people know you're a fucking idiot, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so my parents are still in them, though. So my dad tells me that somebody posted the other day that people shouldn't eat at this burger joint. And I quote, because I don't want people to think this is me saying this, I quote, "That place is owned by a bunch of fucking ragheads. We shouldn't want to fucking eat there. We should run them out of the town." And I'm like, my mom tells me this as we're sitting there smoking a bowl. And I just took a hit and I held it and I let it out and I looked at her and I went, you realize this is the fucking town we live in, right? This is where we live. People think like that around here. Are you fucking serious? I was like, with as many churches as are around here, you think there'd be better people, but there's not because they're all a bunch of fucking racist fucking idiots, fucking rednecks.
Dude, I believe if you did a study, you would find that the more churches a town has, the more racism there is in that town.
It's fucking insane, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It is 2022, okay? Who in their right fucking mind still thinks like that? Seriously.
Apparently, half the country who voted for Trump in 2020.
You fucking idiots, dude.
Yep.
Listen, not even to get politics into it. I don't care if you're I hit my microphone. I don't care if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you just like to have sex with trees. I don't care what your whole political stance is. Okay, there's a difference in political beliefs and just being a good fucking person. And at some point, these people need to realize that they're just not being good fucking people. Yeah. Like, just because someone looks different than you doesn't mean that they're any less of a human being than you are. You know what I'm saying? And but then also, sorry to go on a rant, but like I said, I'm high and I'm tired. This whole shit going on in the government with now it's illegal to get abortions or something like that. It's like, what in the absolute fuck? Like I said, I don't want to get into the politics of it. That is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, where do people get off? This goes back to like the thing I was talking about with that crystal bitch from earlier. Where the fuck do people get off? Like, why do you think that you can tell me what to do? Like, right? Okay, like you are my boss, but like, you're not paying me. You're not fucking me. You're not taking care of me. Why the fuck should I listen to you?
Even worse, we're paying them and they're telling us we can't do certain things.
Absolute get fucked.
Dude, I'm all for, like, have a police force. You know, murder should be illegal. You know, should drugs be illegal? Hell no. If I was president, I'd legalize all the fucking drugs and tax the shit out of them.
Yeah, that.
All right, sorry, interruption.
No, okay.
Yeah, it's but yeah, legalize them, tax them, because dude, people smoking crack, they're not going to find the cure for cancer. They're not going to, invent some kind of deep space travel device. Fuck them, let them smoke crack. And
as we learned from that Reddit thing that you sent me, junkies will sort themselves out.
Exactly.
Like, that is a shitty thing to say, and I completely 100% I know that is a shitty thing to say. But like, at a certain point, there are people who just don't want help.
Yep.
And it's just going to happen, right? So like, you can either throw them in jail and they can be fucking miserable in there, or you can let them die happy. Yep. I don't know.
Dude, my stance on it is, like I said, legalize the shit, tax the hell out of it, and go use that tax money to do, nice state-funded rehab facilities, state-funded mental health care. Because like you said, dude, you could have two homeless people. You could give each of them $1,000. One of them's going to use that $1,000 to go get a cheap hotel room, buy a nice suit, get a shower, get cleaned up, go find a job, start making money. The other one's going to take that $1,000, go buy $1,000 worth of crack or heroin or whatever, and overdose on it. Some people can't be saved. I'm sorry. It's sad to say. Like you said, it's very fucked up to say, but some people, you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Look at Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse, that was a tragic what happened to her. She didn't want to be saved. Like, I hate to say it, you can lock people up, you can, force them into rehab, whatever. They don't want it. They don't want it. What's that? I mean, I'm not huge in religion, but it's that saying, God helps those who help themselves. Like, you have to want it.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, like, this whole fucking abortion thing has gotten me so pissed off. I'm pro-choice, not because I support abortion or whatever, It's a case-by-case basis. Would I be dating a girl and she get pregnant and we go get an abortion? Possibly. Depends on our situation. But like, I'm pro-choice because I don't think some 15-year-old girl in California who got knocked up by the guy who's sexually abusing her should have to take care of that baby for the rest of her life. Like, I don't think I should have a say in what she does with that baby.
But that was part of God's plan, Jeremy. That's all part of God's plan for you. He wanted
you know
you
what
to
else
get
is
raped
part of,
so you would have that baby.
You know what else is part of God's plan? Impotence. Let's do away with Viagra. Like all these old dickheads whose dicks don't work anymore, half of them are the ones making the rules for this country. Let's punish them too.
You know what's strange? And this is like, so a girl who hasn't had any kids and she's under a certain age, they won't let her get a, is it a hysterectomy? Or a tube tied. They won't let her get a tube tied. And I, one time, asked the doctor if I could get a vasectomy. And he told me no, because I was too young. And I'm like, but I don't want kids. And he's like, well, you might change your mind. Motherfucker. Like, if I change my mind, I'll adopt a kid. Yep. Like, I want to freely bust nuts. Yep. Okay? If there's a kid who needs a parent, I will gladly adopt a child. Right? That is no issue with me. Yep. Black, white, Asian, I don't care. I would have the kid and I would love them as my own. But I would like to never have to wear a condom again.
Oh, yeah.
Because after being in a relationship for like 2.5 years and wearing a condom, and not wearing a condom, and then going back to wearing a condom, it is just literally like, I saw a comedian talking about this the other day and he was spot on. It's just like, you're just sitting there worried about if your dick's going to stay hard.
Yep.
Like, as soon as I put that condom on, it's like my dick is just like, oh, we're doing this? Okay, I'm going away. It's like, no, I need you right now. God damn it.
Dude, I remember watching some like TLC show about people who own monkeys, right? And there was a guy on there. He was 19 years old at the time. Like the story he was telling, he was 19. He's like, he grew up in foster care. He had a shitty childhood. He knew he never wanted to have children. But because he was 19, he had to go like halfway across the country to find a doctor who was willing to do a vasectomy for him. Because like you said, all these doctors are putting their personal beliefs on their patients saying, I'm not going to do this because you might change your mind one day. It's like, dude, this kid had a shitty childhood. He doesn't want to bring a child up in this world. That should be okay. And dude, to me, speaking of sexism, one of the worst parts of it is if a woman wants to get her tubes tied, say she's married, she's had like 3 kids, she doesn't want anymore. Dude, some of these doctors make her husband come and give his permission for her to have her tubes tied. Dude, that is the biggest crock of horse shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine being like, I want to get a vasectomy, and they'd be like, well, we're going to have to bring your wife in here. She's going to have to say it's okay.
I would tell the doctor right then and there, I'd be like, obviously, if I'm married and I'm here getting a vasectomy, we've probably discussed that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same situation where it's like, if a woman's going to get her tubes tied, like, does she have to talk to her husband about it? No, but I would say it would be nice if she lets him know.
Yeah.
Like, but like, don't just be like, oh, well, they need permission. Like, just like have faith that they have discussed it with their partner, and it is like a thing. Like, dude, it's not a doctor's place.
And here's my thing: say I'm married, and my wife goes and gets her tubes tied without talking to me about it. I want to have more kids. We can get divorced. I can go marry somebody else, have kids with them. You know, we can do surrogacy. We can adopt. There are other options. I don't think that I should have a say over her body autonomy because I'm her husband. She's not my property. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, you didn't trade 2 goats and a piece of land for her. Like, I get it.
Exactly. She doesn't belong to me. Like, and dude, it's just this government really needs to fucking be eradicated. It's just
something needs to happen.
We need term limits. Like, we need aging out. Like, once you hit a certain age, you need to be pushed out of the government regardless. Like, dude, I posted on Twitter this week during the height of all this Roe versus Wade stuff. I was like, dude, we need to go back to when people reached a certain age, we just threw them off cliffs. Like, dude, because
I can't agree with that because I love my grandparents, but I get what you're saying.
Dude, these rich old white people are fucking ruining the country.
No, I agree. And yeah, what's funny is that my grandparents are old and white, and they're so against what's going on in the government right now. Like, I remember when Trump got elected, my grandpa told me, my grandpa is in his 80s, and he said that was the most ridiculous election that he had ever seen between 2 candidates in his entire life. And I was like, wow, that's saying something. He has seen a lot of elections in his life. You know what I mean?
My thing about that whole campaign was I never heard anything, I don't think from either side, about what they were going to do to help the country. All I heard from both sides were how the other side was going to screw something up. It's like, dude, I don't give a fuck what your other side has to say. Tell me what you're going to do to help the country. And it's like, no, well, that guy's a dickhead. You shouldn't vote for him.
After this, I do want to circle back around and talk about it under the junkie thing real quick. But I do. So I was at my buddy's house and we were watching the debate when that was going on. And my buddy didn't particularly care either way. He didn't end up, I think, liking Trump during the presidency, but he's just a Southern boy. He's just a weird dude. Anyway, me and Lenny, I think I've talked about Lenny, Leo, my buddy from Yonkers. Me and him are watching it as a comedy, right? The whole thing. Right? And then my buddy Joey's brother is like super pro-Trump. And he's like, yeah, get her, Donnie, get her. So I'm equally laughing at him. There was a moment in this particular debate where she basically said, like, my opponent is a liar or something like that. And Trump literally leaned forward and just went, you are. And she went, you are. And I looked at them. I went, are you fucking kidding me? This is a goddamn presidential debate, and they are doing a no, you're not.
I know you are, but what am I?
Thank you. Couldn't think of it. Yeah. It's like, nuh-uh, you, not me, nuh-uh. Rubber sticks to glue, bitch. You know, all that shit. Like,
oh yeah.
What the fuck? It's a presidential goddamn debate, and you guys are up there like you're in 6th grade. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, there was something that was said the other day with this Roe versus Wade thing. I want to see if I can find it because I want to quote it. One of the politicians was basically saying, like, we need to ban abortions because we need to have more American babies available for adoption in the country because all these parents are going to other. It's like, dude, there's like 500,000 kids in foster care right now. Like, y'all make it insanely difficult.
Wants more kids in adoption?
Exactly. Fucking Republican white politicians. They're like, we need more white American babies being born to be adopted because these parents are, it's like they're going overseas because y'all make it impossible to fucking adopt kids in this country. Like, dude, yeah. I looked at it in my early 20s. I looked at it because, you know, I was like, I kind of want to be a dad. You know, I want to adopt a kid. I want to give some kid who doesn't have anything a better life. And I was in my 20s. I owned a house making 60 to 80 grand a year. I don't remember exactly at that point. You know, I wasn't drowning in debt. I had money to spend. Dude, I was basically told absolutely not because I'm a single male. It's like, so you're telling me you'd rather have kids in foster homes or an orphanage, you know, getting beaten, getting treated like shit versus being in a loving home because it's not a family dynamic that you think should be in place. And I'm not talking about adopting a baby. I was like, oh yeah, give me like, you know, a 4 or 5 year old. I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Nope, because there's that stereotype that if you're a man who wants a child by yourself, you're obviously a pedophile who wants to harm this child in some way. Which is just,
it's sad that has become a thing.
Yep.
It's fucked up. Yeah, the whole thing's fucked up. The whole adoption thing is fucked up. It's like getting your green card is fucked up, but that's a whole other subject. But I do want to loop back around because without using names, right? So I have a buddy of mine. We'll call him Bob. Thank you. Yeah, that works. Because I was trying to think of a name, and I'm like, every name I thought of, I'm like, no, I know somebody with that name. So Bob is great. So Bob has a drinking problem. Okay. Bob has a serious drinking problem to the point that Bob has come over to my house before and drank so much that he passed out sitting up in a chair, and I had to pretty much German suplex his ass onto my bed and tuck him in, and then I slept in the chair that night, right? So, but I wasn't gonna let him leave. Like he would just show up to my house fucking wasted, and I wouldn't let him leave. You know what I mean? Like, all right, well, you're crashing here tonight, motherfucker. I'm not letting you drive. So I get a message from him one night, and this is where things started to get kind of weird. I get a message from him, and he starts talking to me about how he's trying to set up a threesome between me, him, and his girl, right? And I'm like, all right. I mean, she's cute, so I mean, if that's what they're looking for, then I mean, who am I to say no? So he says, yeah, I told her that all the girls always say that you had a huge dick, and now she wants to see it. All right. So should I send it to her? No, you can just send it in this chat. She's sitting right next to me. All right.
A little
so
weird.
I take the picture. Why, fuck, whatever. And I send it. And I said, so do I get to see anything of her? And he goes, yeah, hold on. And I get a bunch of pictures that were like obviously taken at another point in time. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's like in the shower and stuff. And I'm like, okay. And then he writes me back and he goes, man, those girls weren't lying. Your dick's huge. And I'm like, okay. So then it starts turning into like, he starts telling me that like she wants to watch me suck on it. And I was like, okay, that, it's not really my thing, man. You know, so turns out she had no idea this conversation was going on. He, apparently likes to swing that way when he's really, really drunk. And there have been multiple times now where he'll just message me when he's fucking wasted trying to, be perverted. One time he sent me a picture of himself with his dick out hard wearing some of her lingerie. And bro, I wish I was fucking making this up, Jeremy. I fucking wish I was making this up. Like, but and Courtney, I know you're listening. You know exactly what I'm talking about because I was talking to you when this was happening. So I know right now Courtney is fucking dying laughing because she knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. But I always message him back and I just say, bro, I really don't think you should drink anymore.
Yep.
And he'll write me back the next day and be like, yeah, I shouldn't drink as much. But the reason I thought of him was because one time I said, bro, you absolutely need to go to fucking rehab. And his reply to me was, Dalton's trying to make me go to rehab. I say, no. And I'm like, you realize that Amy Winehouse died from her addictions, right, yep. Bro? You need to go to fucking rehab. So if you ever listen to this, Bob, if that is your real name, go to fucking rehab. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Now, Jeremy, I have a question for you, sir. Have you ever heard of Findom?
No, I can't say I have.
Okay. Neither had I until the other day. So I've been chatting with this girl, not in a sexual way or anything, just music and things like that. And she starts being really flirty with me. So like I brought up that like there's this other girl that I talk to and I'm really into her. So like I'm not, and this girl's like writing me back. She's like, well, you know, I live over here on the other side of the world, so it's not like this would actually happen anyway, yada, yada, yada. So she talks to me a lot every day. And then she brings up to me, have you ever heard of Findom? And I was like, whoa. I said, do you mean like femdom? Like female domination type stuff? She's like, no, Findom, financial domination. Immediately, if I could raise the rock eyebrow, I would, right? Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what that is. So I Googled it before she could explain it, and I'm reading the explanation of it. Now I'm going to Google it again right now so I can read it to you. I should have done this before I started talking about this, but
I mean, the only thing I can imagine as financial domination is all those douchebags that make a ton of money and have hot wives they treat like shit, but they stay around because, you know, the money and the lifestyle is too nice to give up. AKA, you know, like Ray Rice when he beat the shit out of his fiance in an elevator and she married him like 2 weeks later anyways.
It's a little different. It's a little different than that.
Okay.
Findom stands for financial domination. Simply put, men involved in Findom send expensive gifts, give regular sums of money, which the amount of is set by the woman, or even allow the unknown woman to have complete control over his finances. There is no sexual exchange, and in the majority of cases, the two people have never even met. Now, when she brings this up to me, after saying, oh, well, we'll never even meet, don't even worry about it, right? She brings up Findom to me. I made two things very clear. One, I would never fucking do that. That's dumb.
Never.
Two,
ever.
I don't have any fucking money. And like the money that I do have, which is very little, you can't touch. And she was saying, she's like, oh, I'm not saying that I would do this with you. I'm just saying this is something that I'm interested in, maybe trying one day. Maybe I could find a man to do. And I'm like, word.
She would not have brought that up if she did not want to try to do this to you.
So, I haven't heard from her much since we had that conversation.
Yep.
And it just struck me a little funny.
So basically what this is women who manipulate men like sugar daddies. They have figured out a way to do that without the actual sugar being involved.
Apparently so.
Like,
girls
that
just want
is
daddies.
Fucking skeezy. Like, dude, if a chick came to me and said some shit like that, I would just block her ass right away. Like, I'd be like, no, get the fuck out. And like, for the fact that she said it to you and then said, oh, I'm just playing. It's kind of like I say, oh yeah, baby, why don't we do a little butt play tonight? She's like, ew, that's gross. And I'm like, oh, I was just playing. And I was just playing. I was joking. It's like, no, it's because you brought up something you wanted to do, and the person was like, that's not happening. And you're like, I didn't want to do that. I was just talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just struck me odd. And I'm pretty much game for anything. Like, if I like the girl, she can pretty much do whatever the fuck she wants to me. But when it comes to my money, though, like, I don't have enough as it is for myself. You
can do whatever you want to me, except get my bank passwords or go in my wallet.
Yeah, right. And it's like, if we ever have a joint bank account, best believe that I hope that we both have separate bank accounts too, just for other extraneous.
I may be an outlier. I have serious relationship lived with 4 women, one of which I was married to. I have never had a joint bank account, and I never intend to, because we split the bills. We both pay for groceries, whatever, we split the cost of everything, or, I'll pick up this, she'll pick up that, whatever. But no, I don't like the idea of a joint bank account, because I don't like the idea of there being $500 in our account. We're both separate places and spend $300 at the same time. Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm very particular about my money and my finances. Like, I check my credit score at least 3-4 times a week. Like, I stay on top of that shit, so I'm not going to let somebody else stick their hands in the honeypot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they strike me weird too, man. But it's one of those things, to each their own. It's kind of like when I see a joint Facebook account, I'm like, all right, which one of you cheated?
Yep. That's something else. Like, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for my store and this podcast, I wouldn't even have social media, more than likely. So I'm definitely not doing a joint social media account with anybody. Up
until I started the podcast, I basically used Facebook to talk to Courtney and share memes and stuff. And then I've recently convinced her to hop on Discord. So now if Facebook doesn't pan out, that's fine, because I can still get on Twitter and stuff. And I don't fuck with Twitter like a lot of people do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go on Twitter and scroll it for hours on end and get mad at stuff and things like that. I just get on Twitter, I post the shit I need to. I might like a couple memes, and then I hop off.
Dude, I use my Twitter more than Facebook now, but like, my Twitter, I follow F1 teams, F1 drivers, celebrities I like, stuff like that. And I don't follow a lot of people I know personally, maybe like 4 or 5. And if I see some shit I don't like for some reason, I've been getting, I think it's because I followed a couple of people whose tweets entertained me, and they follow all these like thirst trap accounts. So I kept seeing these like based on your likes, and it's all these chicks like just posting, not lewd pictures, but like in a provocative stance or something, just showing their body off, fishing for compliments. And that shit fucking infuriates me for some reason. Like, they're attractive women, and you do you, but I can't stand when women or men either, are posting pictures of their body solely to get people to tell them how hot they are. Like, it's vain as shit, and I hate it. But I found, like, I'll go on there and I'll be like, block this person, mute this person, I don't want to see this. Like, and I'll clear my Twitter feed to where now it's pretty much, like I said, it's F1 and a handful of celebrities that I appreciate and I like to see what's going on with. Yeah. Yeah, that's like my Facebook, dude. Since that Facebook jail shit, I haven't posted anything on Facebook. You can go look at my timeline. The last post I made was April 25th, so 2 weeks ago. I'm like, fuck Mark Zuckerberg. I'm done with this bullshit.
My main Twitter account, I follow some porn stars, and I followed them back before, like when you follow somebody, it lets your Twitter followers know, like, hey, they followed this person, and you like them too, right? So if you creeped my Twitter hard enough, you'd learn a lot about me. But Twitter was the first place that I realized that it's not dicks that bother me, it's just dudes. Because I saw this chick, or this trans woman, and she was fucking smoking hot.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then I scrolled down, I was like, oh, she had a dick. And I really had to sit there and think about myself, because I was like, I'm really not that bothered by that. Because she's smoking hot, right? So I'm like, I really think that what it is for me is like, just hairy dudes gross me out. But like, if I meet a chick and she pulls her pants down and she's got a wiener, I mean, that is what it is.
Dude,
but that's just me.
Let me preface by saying, gay, straight, bi, whatever, you do you. It doesn't bother me at all. Like you said, I don't think it's these hard lines that people have drawn between gay and straight and whatever, but yeah, like I'm attracted to the female form. And I sat down one day and I was like, I was single. I'd been single for a while, and I was like, am I gay? And then I sat down and thought about it, and I was like, I'm not gay. And the reason I know why is because I've done some fucking low down dirty shit to try to impress a woman. I've never done that to try to impress a guy. And I never could see a scenario where I'm like doing that kind of fucking degrading shit to try to get a guy's attention. So I'm like, I guess I'm not gay, I mean, like now, like Ryan Reynolds is hot as fuck. Chris Hemsworth is hot as fuck. I can appreciate that. Yeah. But like, I'm not going to go out and, simp over their Twitter accounts or, try to date them or any of that shit. Like, cause I love the female form, but like you said, now there's some super hot trans women out there.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily bother me.
I'll go a step further than that. After all of that stuff had happened, like I referenced earlier, where those 3 dudes were like doing it when I was drunk and stuff, and I found out the next day that I had gotten brought into it, but I didn't find out until one of the girlfriends called me, messaged me. I think I might have even told that story before, on one of the podcasts. But anyway, so I dealt with that for a long time, like thinking about it, like, and wondering if that had like affected me at all or whatever. So I had a gay friend of mine who asked if he could help me decide whether it was true or not. And I was like, what do you mean? So anyway, he ended up giving me head, right? And I wasn't into it.
Yep.
And he goes, well, then you're straight. He goes, I mean, that's the tell. He goes, you know what I'm saying? He's like, obviously you would be into this if you were into it. You know what I mean? He goes, but you're not. So, I mean, so that was like a deciding factor for me that day, that I was just like, okay, and honestly, that was like a load off, not to, make a pun, but it was a load off my mind to, I'm not worried about that anymore.
And dude, my stance on it is gay or straight is not about having sex. To me, gay or straight is, who do you want to cuddle with in the bed and watch TV with? Shit like that. Because, like, dude, somebody's like, hey, some dude comes up to me, he's like, hey, I got $1 million cash, have sex with me. I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah. I'll put my legs behind my ears, fucking stare you in the eyes and all kinds of shit, because fuck it. It's just sex. At the end of the day, sex is friction. It's nerve endings and friction.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, your orientation or identity, or however you want to classify it, is who do you want to spend time with? Who do you want to be intimate with? And like I said, whoever that is, by all means, go for it. Live a happy life.
Yeah.
If you want to get married, I always joke and say I don't think gay marriage should be legal, because I don't think marriage should be legal. Because, like, fuck being married. It's miserable. But yeah, dude, whoever you want to spend your life with, if you want to marry them, you want to adopt kids with them, you want to, do whatever, be my guest. Live a happy life, because life sucks. And I imagine it sucks a lot worse when you have politicians and people, hateful people telling you shouldn't live the lifestyle that makes you happy.
Yep. 100% agree.
We were talking about that. Jen was telling me some like 11-year-old kid off themselves because they were getting bullied in school all year and no one would do anything about it. And I was like, I hope my kid would come to me first, because I'm like, dude, if it comes to that point, I'm like, tell me where this bully lives. I'll go beat his dad up. Like, I will not let my kid do that because he's getting bullied and doesn't feel like anybody's on his side. Like, I'll beat his teachers up, I'll beat his principal, I'll beat the fucking kid up, I don't care. Like, if it's coming to that, no, I don't give a shit. I'll gladly go to prison to stop that from happening.
Oh yeah, 100%, brother. I agree with you.
So yeah, off of a somber note there, have you ever been playing a phone or watching a video on your phone and or playing a game on your phone, watching a video, and you see an ad for a mobile game and you're like, man, that looks really fun. And then you download it and it's about as simplistic as it can possibly be. And every 5 to 7 seconds, a fucking ad plays.
Yeah.
Dude, that pisses me off so much. It happened to me the other day. That's why I added it to our topic list. I see this game and I'm like, oh, it's like a fucking lawnmower game or something. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. It's this what mobile games have become, where it's simple little like stick figure type characters, just as simple little work as they could possibly put into it. And I'm talking about, dude, literally you will be riding around playing the game and an ad will just pop up about every 5 seconds. And I played it through about 3 ads and then I shut it down and deleted it off my phone because I was like, this is fucking horseshit.
I can't tell you how many of the games that it's like you said, you'll be like the little faceless stick guy.
Yep.
But it's kind of like 3D modeling, and it's like you hold him and he'll run and shoot, and you have to move around the objects and stuff.
Yep.
Every time the level ends, it goes to an ad, and when that happens on a game, I will immediately uninstall it because I've played too many fucking games that just throw ads at you like that when there's really no substance. It's just ad farming. Yep. I wish I could remember. Actually, I'm glad I don't remember the name of it because I do not want to plug the game. But shout out to Willie and Nate. They've both been seeing ads for this fucking mobile game that is apparently like advertised as like a dark Pokemon style game, and then you get into it, and it's not anything like that. And I always wonder what the fuck. How did they get away with that? Like, I see ads on Facebook for phone games that will literally have Pokemon and stuff in the advertisement, but they're not in the game. Because
they're more than likely like Chinese-based companies that aren't covered under U.S. copyright law. So the Pokemon company can complain and have the ad taken down, but there's not really anything they can do other than that. So they have the ad taken down. That company changes a letter in their name and puts the ad right back up. And so it's just a constant battle of getting shit taken down because they can't, send somebody to go arrest these people or file suit against them because they're in another country.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
And
I respect. Oh, go ahead.
I will say, dude, there are some good mobile games out there. Not a lot of them are free. Some of them you have to pay for. Some of them are free. Like Nintendo put out a few decent ones. Trying to think of any of them. There was one I played for a long time that was called Just Mowing, and it was literally you just rode a lawnmower around mowing people's yards, and you got like loot boxes, and there's a little in-game currency where like if you don't want to wait 3 hours to open the loot box, you can pay. But like it was fun. But then like these games we're talking about where, like you said, it's 3D modeling, but it's literally the lowest quality of 3D modeling you could possibly get away with, just to give you something to do every 5 or 7 seconds between the ads they throw at you. It gives mobile gaming a bad name. It gives it a bad rap because people are like, fuck mobile games. They're all these little bullshit games that are just trying to get money out of you.
Yeah, and I don't think the gacha systems help with that at all.
No, not at all.
Though I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand why the gacha thing exists because the games are free and they want to make money on them.
Yeah. But you can do it right.
Like
Clash of Clans, that was a huge game. I knew dozens of people who played it and they spent money on it. I've played games like I think it's called Homescapes was one I played, where it was you were like renovating an old house, but you did it by playing kind of Candy Crush like puzzles, and when you beat a puzzle you got credit. You use that credit to rebuild the house. I probably spent like $20 on that game, but I played it for like a year and it entertained me. So I'm like, I don't see the problem in spending a little bit of money if it's entertaining. But like I'd rather do that than you just fucking throw an ad at me every 5 seconds. Like that shit aggravates the hell out of me.
Yeah, and I appreciate on Facebook at least, I think it's called Summoner's War. I think
I've heard of that one.
Or Summoner's Greed or something like that. But they'll have an ad, it'll just like have text and it'll just say like, we could have spent money on making a big cool looking ad, and that's totally throwing shade at Raid Shadow Legends. They're like, we could have made money making this big cool ad and everything, but instead we put our money into the game, and we actually didn't have all that much money, so here's a meme, and it'll just be like a meme with one of the characters from the game in it. And I'm like, that's brilliant. That's brilliant marketing, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then, but Summoner's War, they don't try to lie about what they are. You know what I mean? They're just like, we're just a phone game that's fun.
Speaking of that marketing gimmick, Arizona green tea is still 99 cents for a can, right? Do you know why they were able to keep that price so low? I watched a video on it the other day. Apparently, when inflation started hitting that industry and the prices of stuff started going up, Arizona made the decision to slash their marketing budget to $0. So think about it. When's the last time you saw a commercial for Arizona green tea?
Never my entire life.
Exactly. But their drinks are still 99 cents because they cut their marketing down because people drink it. And like if you go in the store, you're like, I really want some iced tea. You see like Arizona 99 cent, Lipton 2.89. Which one are you going to go for? You're like 99 cent. I'll try that.
And I'd say, like, although I will say Lipton with lemon is crisp and really good, dude. Those Arizona green teas are fire, bro. They're so tasty.
Oh yeah,
so tasty. And so plus, I mean, it's a pretty can.
And I've always asked that question, like when the Super Bowl comes around. Super Bowl ads last year were like $7 million a minute or something like that. Why are companies like Coca-Cola and Budweiser and Sprint and these, household names, why are they spending that much money advertising during the Super Bowl? Can Coca-Cola get more brand recognition than they already have?
Oh, dude, it's just part of it. It's part of the Americana. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that part, but to me it's stupid because...
Oh, it absolutely is. I'm not
that's
saying it's
money
not.
You're taking out of your consumer's pocket. Like, dude, I bought drinks for my store the other day. A 12-pack of cans of Coca-Cola is $6 at Walmart now.
Yeah. I think they're like $7 down here. I feel
like,
dude.
That's fucking ridiculous. And that's where that fucking money is going. They're paying for ads that they don't fucking need. That's why I think we were talking about like E3 being canceled. And I'm like, good. Like, we don't need it anymore. All these companies have YouTube pages and stuff now. They're not having to pay realistically tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to send crews to these events to build these, really nice display booths and all this stuff. And I mean, just spending tons of money when they can spend probably a quarter of that and make a YouTube video. Like Nintendo with their directs, that has to be the cheapest marketing they've ever had in their lives because they don't have to pay for YouTube. Yeah. They have two like executives who are already getting paid just standing there talking about the stuff, and they're showing trailers. Like, I don't even think they have a sound stage. I think they have a green screen in somebody's office. They're just filming y'all.
Yeah, but E3, dude, E3 is it's the event of it. You know what I mean? It's just yeah, you could sit at home and watch TV. That's like, say, okay, Metallica, they have a YouTube channel. They should never tour again. They should just play on YouTube. Like, that would be cool, but also you're not getting that experience of seeing Metallica with 100,000 other people like, fucking Metallica! You know what I mean? Like,
my argument against that, though, is I feel like, didn't E3 become a media-only event at one point?
If they did, then that was them shooting themselves in their own foot.
I don't think like me and you could go to it anymore. I could be wrong. Tell us in the Facebook group if I'm wrong about that. But I feel like it went to a media only thing at some point where like you had to be invited to E3. Now I agree. Like, it's like Comic-Con. Like, Comic-Con is cool, but it's not really for the people anymore. Because
I was about to say they should have taken E3 and made it a con more.
I would say, if you're going to make it into a convention where it's, people are selling video games, small time developers and publishers have their stuff set up where you can go check it out. That'd be cool. But just a huge media event to showcase new games, we don't need that anymore. With the age of, we're in the internet age, we don't need that anymore because like Nintendo does with their directs, you can show all those trailers. People can watch them from the comfort of their home. They don't have to spend $1,000 flying out to wherever they're having E3 and, you know, get a hotel room for 4 or 5 days just to go stand in a room full of COVID infested sweaty neckbeards and watch the trailer for Pikmin 4.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from, man. I get where you're coming from. I don't know. I always liked watching E3. Like, it was like an event. I pack me a bowl or roll me a joint, kick back, watch the show. And now, like, the directs are cool and everything, but a lot of times they're over before they start. And that, again, I know is just me. I like to watch long-form media. I
like that. I like it being shorter because I have other shit going on. I like to be able to just watch it and be done with it.
Yeah,
Dude, I'll say Sony.
I take long shits. So.
Sony's been killing it with the state of plays too. I think they're doing a really good job with that. Xbox really needs to get on the ball with some kind of equivalent, which I guess, you know, like our friend Mike would say, they don't have any games to show off anyway, so they don't need a show. But like,
I mean, they can't really say that anymore, dude. Now they own Bethesda and id Software, so they got like Doom and
yeah, but we know about all that stuff. They're not making any new stuff.
Well, not right now, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, when the day comes, eventually there's going to be some shit. Now, obviously, none of this matters to me because I have a computer and everything comes out on the computer eventually, be it legal or other nefarious ways of playing. But yeah, man. It's looping back to the mobile game thing. I wish that more of them. How do I word this? I wish that the market hadn't been flooded with the ad farmers, because mobile was a very viable gaming market at first, and really still could be. Like, there's some serious processing power. Like, as much as it gets shit upon, dude, Raid Shadow Legends looks really fucking good for a phone game.
And dude, they're making, like, you can use your Xbox wireless controllers with your phone now. They're making attachment controllers. Like, this could be a really good platform, but like you said, so many people have jumped on it and are just looking at it as a way to farm money from advertisements. Yep. And they're like, we don't need to put any effort into these games. Like, I played one, I forget what it was, like a fruit slicing game or something. It's a puzzler game. But like, dude, after about 30 levels, I started noticing like the levels were just repeating. And it's like, dude, you're not even putting any effort into this, but every level, at the end of the level, you get a 30-second ad to watch. So, like, yeah, it's... Dude, fuck abortion. Politicians need to be making legislation to where these mobile games can't lie in their fucking advertisements and show you some shit that has nothing to do with the actual game they're advertising. And like, make that illegal.
While they're on making things that aren't illegal, that should be... podcasts that make their ads louder than their podcast. Like, I get that, like, there's a reason that shit got outlawed on TV, and it should be outlawed in fucking podcasting too. Like,
oh, they still do it on TV. It's fucking aggravating as shit.
That's not supposed to be a thing. Apparently, my dad told me, like, back in the day, it would be like a fucking ad would come on and it would blow your speakers out at how loud it was. But even still.
Dude. Like it, I mean, it's a marketing tactic because they're like, oh, you're kind of sitting there just sort of zoning out on a show. When you hear that loud noise, it brings your attention back. But like you said, to me at least, and maybe it's just our generation, it pisses me off because I'm like, why the fuck are you so goddamn loud? I don't want your products because you're being too loud in my house.
Yeah, exactly. I like quiet. I like serene peacefulness.
Dude, one show, pay attention to it next time you watch Bob's Burgers. Their theme song is like 3 times louder than the actual volume of the show. Like, you'll watch a Bob's Burgers episode and it rolls into the next one and you're like, God damn, why is it so loud? But it's just the theme music. It's like I said, like 3 times as loud as the actual show is.
Yeah. My ex used to fall asleep with Bob's Burgers on, and I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up in the middle of the night hearing that theme and have to like search around for the remote to turn it down.
Yep. I don't know why it's so fucking loud. Like, most shows aren't like that. That one particular show I've noticed, it's alarmingly loud just during the theme music. And then once you turn it down during the music, and then when the episode comes on, you can't hear it. You had to turn it back up.
Oh, man. So I got to tell you a story, man. So there was a time And actually, I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. This was 10 years ago. Made me feel old, right? So I rolled myself a blunt. My dad had run up to the store. My mom's taking a nap. So I'm like, I'm going to go sit outside. It's a nice day out. I'm going to smoke this blunt. I'm going to have a good day. So I go out back. I fire it up. I'm sitting there and I'm smoking. And I don't have any dogs at the time. This is before I had Daisy. And my other 2 dogs had passed away. So I'm just chilling back there. And I look over to my left. And I have these hedges on the side of my, like, or they're really, I guess they're not hedges. They're like more like bush tree things. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They line my fence on the left side in the backyard.
Yeah.
And I see some leaves and stuff moving over there, and something kind of making its way along. And I was like, oh, that looks like a snake. I'm going to go see what kind of snake it is. Because I see black snakes around here all the time, right? So I go walking over that. Now, keep in mind, I'm puffing a blunt, right? So I'm getting stoned. So I'm looking, and I'm like, that's a big-ass snake. And then it kind of like looks more towards me and opens its mouth. And I went, oh, fuck, that's not a snake. That's a little alligator. Motherfucker. And sure as shit, I go to go inside to go wake my mom up and tell her, like, yo, there's a fucking alligator back here. And my dad is coming in the front door at the same time I open the back door. And he's like, what's up, man? And I was like, there's an alligator in the backyard. Oh, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. You shouldn't smoke all that by yourself. No, Dad, there's an alligator in the backyard. You're kidding. No, Dad, there's an alligator in the back. No, you're shitting me. So he goes out there and we walk over there and I point under the bush and I'm like, look. And he looks under the bush and he's like, son of a bitch. And he wasn't big. It was probably like 3.5 feet. You know what I mean? It wasn't a huge alligator. And I told him, I said, dude, I can go get a towel and throw it over it and hop on its back and grab it behind the back of the head and grab it by the base of its tail. I was like, and if we can get it into a trash can, we could take it to the lake and let it go. You know what I mean? He's like, don't fucking touch it. He's like, that thing will tear your fingers off. Don't fucking touch it. So we ended up just like letting it do its thing, right? So my backyard is fenced in. That was the day that I learned that alligators can climb fences.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So later that night, my dad goes to play a concert. So my dad's a musician, right? So he goes to play a show. And he comes back home, and him and my mom pull up, and I'm helping him unload the gear from the truck and everything. And it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And me and my mom go out. We're smoking on the front porch, you know, relaxing after the end of the show and all of that. And we start talking about that alligator, how we hadn't seen it and stuff. And we start hearing noises. So I get my flashlight, and we go and we look. And that alligator is now up under my dad's truck where they had just pulled up and parked. I assume because the engine was warm, so it was probably nice and warm up under there.
Trying to get some heat up under there.
Yeah, so I'm just looking, and there's just this fucking 3.5 foot alligator just chilling under my dad's truck, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Only in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Only in Florida. And then like 2 or 3 days later, it rained really fucking hard, so the retention ponds next to this hardware store that's around here were full. And one of my buddies posted on Facebook that he caught an alligator in one of them. And it was like a stone's throw from my house, so I bet it's the same fucking alligator.
Probably so.
That thing hopefully is now in a lake doing its thing, because David is a good dude and said that he was going to take it to Geneva and let it go. Or maybe Santa Fe, one of the lakes around here.
I want to say I know we have some British listeners, anyone who's not from the southeast of America. To show you how ridiculous the state of Florida is, I learned recently there is a town in Florida called Punta Gorda. For those who don't speak Spanish, Punta Gorda means fat bitch in Spanish. Yeah, so there's literally a town in Florida called Fat Bitch.
Yes, there is.
So that tells you everything you need to know about the state of Florida.
There's also a place in Florida that always cracks me up. Anytime we're heading to Orlando to go to a show, we always pass the sign that says it's Oklahoma. And I don't know why, but that word just cracks me up. Oklahoma. It's like, what the fuck?
Dude, speaking of ridiculous Florida shit, the Miami Grand Prix in F1 was this weekend. First ever time they've raced in Miami. They actually built a track around the Hard Rock Stadium where the Dolphins play. Dude, they built a fake marina inside in the infield of the track. Literally parked yachts there on concrete and then put like printed water around them. Like literally like blocks of printed water around them so that the rich people could sit on their yacht and enjoy the race. Like literally, they're trying to be
Jeez.
Monaco. So Monaco is like the prestigious for your rich people country, I guess I could say, but it's the rich people race. So it's around the harbor, the marina. There's yachts everywhere. So Miami wants to prove they're fucking baller beach town too. So they build a fake marina instead of like closing it in and filling it with water. They literally, I gotta send you a picture of it. We'll post it in the Facebook group because it's fucking ridiculous. And also 1000% Miami shit. Like that is 1000% some shit they do in Miami.
Absolutely.
Like I literally told my buddy, if I ever run away and try to like just change my identity, I said, I'm going to Miami. I'm gonna fucking get a tan, change my name to Carlos, wear the fucking silk button-up patterned shirts with it unbuttoned down to like nipple level with the chest hair and the gold chains hanging out. Fucking white slacks. I'll fit right in.
I got some more wild Florida shit for you. So a friend of mine, we'll call her Bessie, and her boyfriend's brother. So she comes over the other day and she's telling us this story about how her boyfriend's brother is a real weird dude, and how the way he walks and the way you can listen and hear it, that she was under the assumption that he wears diapers, right?
Yeah.
But he's got no medical issues like that. So she said then one day while her boyfriend wasn't home and she was there on the porch smoking a cigarette, and this brother knew she was there and was within eye shot, he walks into the kitchen wearing nothing but a diaper and a shirt.
What the hell?
And like bends over, and she said that he squatted down like in the natural position.
Wow.
And then stood up and walked off. And I didn't know what to say, right? I'm like, what? So this dude gets into an accident, right? They live on a busy road, so like he gets into an accident, try to pull in the yard, ends up having to go to the hospital, and the mom asked them to like get some clothes together and stuff and take up there for him and stuff. So when they're going into his room to get clothes, they find a bunch of diapers and a baby bottle with one of the ones that's like the nipple is like 3 or 4 inches long.
Like the shit you use to feed baby goats and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was made up with like kid stuff all over it. So I was just like, Bessie, I almost said her real name there. Bessie, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, again, when it comes to your sexual fetishes and things, I always say to each your own as long as you're not harming anyone else.
Yep.
But I did not know how to react to that particular one. I was just like, well,
yeah, that's one of those things that's apparently fairly common, but it always catches you by surprise. Like, if somebody comes to me and says, I'm trans, I'm non-binary, whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. One of my exes had a friend who was like 24, 25 years old. She believed she was both a man from like 450 years ago and a cat. When a 7-year-old girl is walking around a department store meowing and purring, it's cute. You're like, oh, look, it's a little girl. She's playing pretend. When it's a mid-20s girl walking around a store wearing fake cat ears and purring, meowing, and hissing at people she doesn't know, it's fucking weird. Like, I didn't want to walk around the store with her. I just kind of wandered off from the group and just did my own thing. I'm like, I don't want to walk around the store with a grown-ass person who's pretending to be a cat. Like I said, you want to live your life this way? I try not to judge people. Like, you do you. If it makes you happy, you do it. But at the same time, like, it's fucking uncomfortable for me, and I don't want to walk around in public with you.
Dude, I get it. Stop me if I've told this before. Like, I dated a girl who had this thing where, like, she would just every now and then just start talking like a baby, and like just almost like age regression in a way, right? So it was kind of odd, but I kind of got used to it. And then she always called me daddy when we were doing it, which I got used to. It wasn't my thing, but I got used to it. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I really don't mind it in other situations, but you will see why it bothered me in this particular situation here in just a second. So we're together for a while, and she tells me that there's like stuff that I don't know about her that I need to know, yada yada yada. So she tells me to come over and see her. So I go over and see her. She gives me a hug and gives me a kiss and all that. And she hands me this note. And she's like, read this whenever you get home. So we hung out for a while and everything. So anyway, whenever I got home, this was a 4-page written front and back, like, I'll call it a story. Because it really wasn't worded like a diary entry. It was worded like she was telling a story to get across what had happened. And not to go into too much detail, but some things that happened to her and her sisters growing up that were not of the good variety. Yeah. And I was no longer comfortable with her calling me daddy when we were having sex, right? Oh, yeah. I didn't know how to go about that. And I remember laying in bed one night and crying. I was home alone and I cried because I wanted to get out of this relationship, but I did not want her to hurt herself. And that was very much the vibe that I got. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. And it ended up being that it made me distance myself from her a little bit, and then she ended up breaking it off because of that, which was fine by me. And I'm still friends with her and stuff. But those whole situations, as awful as they are, they also fascinate me in a way. And let me clarify. let me clarify, because I see her post pictures and stuff of her dad, because he's since passed away, and she'll post pictures and be like, I miss you, old man, and things like that. And I just wonder if there's got to be some sort of disconnect from the two in their brains. You know what I mean? And that's a whole other topic for another show. But the whole thing I'm getting at, really, honestly, is Florida's fucking weird. Yeah, yeah. like I said, that story is particular. That's a whole other topic. We don't have enough time left on this episode to get into all of that. But Florida, there's some wild shit that goes on down here, and I just don't have any explanation for it.
Dude, something similar happened with Joe Exotic. I was reading in his book, like his dad, when he turned like 5 years old, his dad and one of his older brothers started molesting him, and dude, he still loved his dad up to, you know, when he died. And I'm like, dude, like that's a strength I'll never have, because like I couldn't imagine somebody doing something like that to me and me still caring about them and wanting to take care of them in their old age. I just can't imagine that shit happening.
Dude, yeah, I'm there with you. I've been through shit, you know what I mean, things that I wouldn't necessarily get into on here, but like I have deleted all references from those people in my brain. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think about them. I saw one of them pop up in my people you may know on Facebook, and I just immediately blocked them because I'm just like, sort that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no need to dwell on it. And maybe I'm lucky that I look at it like that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. But let's get off the seriousness again.
Yeah.
Oh god, I just swallowed spit the wrong way.
Oh, R.I.P. Dalton. He's dead now.
Oh god, that was awful. I took a breath in and it was like, oh god. We have some community questions, sir.
Before we get to that, let's not forget our song of the week this week, because we forgot it last week.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you want to go first? Or would you like me to go?
Yeah, I can go. So mine this week will be State of the Union Part 2 by Marlon Craft. It's sort of a he's a rapper similar to like a sort of a style of Joyner Lucas, but it's a really good song. It's a very topical song. It's about a lot of the fucked up shit that's going on in the country right now, in the world, really. Yeah, give it a listen. It's a pretty good song.
Hell yeah, I will, and I will post a link to that, of course, on the website whenever this episode goes up, so y'all can check it out as well. I cheated this week. I have two songs. I couldn't choose between the two. They're both good for different reasons. The first song is by Spoil Engine, and it's called Disconnect. And it was released sometime in 2016, so it was around when all that turmoil and stuff was going on that we were talking about earlier. Oh, yeah. And I believe that they're like from Belgium, or they're from Europe or whatever, but like it's a really good song, and it's heavy. It's in your face. It's a good moshing song. But the message of it is definitely anti-media and things like that. The second song that I have is actually the one that I would more so recommend if you're going to listen to either of these. Listen to this one. It's by a band called Ignia, and they are from Ukraine. And the song is called Alga. Now, we all know what's going on in the Ukraine right now. This song came out in 2015. And I'm going to read the chorus to you really quick. And it's the chick singer. She's got a hell of a scream, but she doesn't do it in this song much. But the chorus, these are the lyrics. No one can take our land from us. It is our home. And no one can decide for us. Leave us all alone. We hold arms to death until the last of us stands still. We will destroy and crush all foes. We shout Alga and kill.
Nice.
Now, Alga, I had this pulled up and I accidentally closed the thing. So, definition. And that brought up algae. So that's not helpful at all. So I will find the actual meaning of Alga.
She shouts algae and kills a bunch of people.
Red tide! But, no, it's some Ukrainian word, and I wish I could remember what it was. Like I said, I had it pulled up, but yeah, Slava Ukraini. I recommend both those songs. They're really, really good. Symphonic metal, it's good shit. I discovered both those bands when I was actually doing the on the Patreon for the Steam Machine podcast, which I'll give myself a shameless plug. Patreon.com/the Steam Machine podcast. $1 a month, you get access to all of that shit. Plus this, I did a showcase of female vocalists in metal, and it ended up being 4 hours and 45 minutes long or so. Really long. I put a lot of effort into it. So definitely, if you're a Patreon of the show already, please go check that out because I put a lot of effort into it. And I hope you dig it. But yeah, dude, there's a lot of good female fronted metal out there. You just got to look for it.
Oh, yes.
But
I think my favorite is, I sent it to you a while back. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. I'll have to find it. It was some kind of silly gimmick metal band, but they were actually really good. It wasn't the Oakley Dokley. It was something else, but I can't remember it now. It's escaping.
Fuck, I love Oakley Dokley. That shit's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell, give me a white wine spritzer. So, sir, Kana has a question for us.
All right.
If there was a Yabs Pod cereal, what would be in it? Now, I have my answer for this, but I'm curious as to you because you have the eating thing. So
it's got to have marshmallows in it, like little marshmallow Jeremy and Dalton heads in various colors.
Okay.
That'll be my contribution to our cereal.
That would be your contribution? Okay, so my contribution is that it is just a bag of marshmallows.
Absolutely.
Literally just a bag of Lucky Charms style marshmallows, but it's just our heads.
I'll say our heads, penises, vaginas, F1
buttholes.
Cars, guitars, buttholes. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just a bag of marshmallow buttholes.
I thought you were going to say a bag of dicks.
They're like big too, where you can get some definition in there.
Like those chocolates that you can order.
Yeah. Like every so often there's one that's a little gaped open in the middle. So there you go. The Yabs Pod cereal is just a bag of marshmallow buttholes.
Yeah, for sure. And they would be delicious. Mm.
Yes. Chocolate flavored.
So, Jesus Christ. So Jeff wants to know which male and female celebrity, living or dead, would you love to meet in person?
For me, male, I've got a couple. I would say either Jeremy Clarkson, who we've talked about on the show. Some people like him. He's a car journalist and entertainer. Fucking love the guy. I think he's hilarious. I think we would get along decently. Then the other would be Sebastian Vettel because he's probably my favorite all-time F1 driver. He's very much an activist too. Like he wore a T-shirt in Miami that said 2060 Miami GP, the first race underwater, and had like a helmet with a snorkel on it. It was basically saying that if we don't do anything about climate change, by 2060 Miami's going to be underwater. He wore a rainbow helmet and rainbow T-shirt in Saudi Arabia during the race there. Like, he doesn't care that he's going to get in trouble for this stuff. He doesn't care what the countries think of it. He's standing up for activism. Dude, the funniest thing, the FIA, who are the governing body for motor racing, they've started enforcing all kinds of weird rules about what drivers can wear under their fire suits and stuff. And one of the regulations was about underwear. Like you can't wear non-regulation underwear. So Sebastian Vettel put on his fire suit and put on a pair of boxer briefs over top of it Friday and walked around the track wearing underwear over his fire suit as a sort of not silent protest, but sort of a protest of ridiculous rules being put in place. Like, I love the dude. I think he's great. Female, probably like Charlize Theron, because she's fucking seems like an amazing person. I think she'd be fun to hang out with. And I'll also go from F1 there. There's a new F1 commentator named Laura Winter. Dude, I have the biggest crush on this lady. Like, she's beautiful. She's well dressed. She knows her shit when it comes to like F1, football or soccer in America, just all kinds of stuff. I love her broadcast style. So I was like, yeah, meet her, take her to dinner or something. I think that'd be fun. So how about you?
Unfortunately, both the males that I would like to meet and talk to are both dead. The first one being Anthony Bourdain, because he's my favorite TV personality ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the other guy that I would have liked to have met and talked to was Peter Steele, who was the lead singer of Typo Negative.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was a really cool dude, and I probably could have had some really cool music talks with him. He was a huge Beatles fan, and I'm a big Beatles fan as well. So, like, yeah, I would have loved to have talked Beatles with him. As far as people who are alive, Guy Fieri would be cool. You know, there's a bunch of musicians, but I've met a lot of them like at festivals and stuff, just going up and talking to, like, I know everybody was on the dick about that band Red Jumpsuit Apparatus for a long time. Yep. And they're from Jacksonville. So like I'd go to festivals in Jacksonville and stuff, and Red Jumpsuit Apparatus would play at the festival, and then during the next band, like they'd just be out in the crowd, like you just see them. Like I smoked a joint with one of the guys, like they're chill dudes. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love when musicians and comedians and stuff do that. Like we have a local comedy club that a lot of times the comedians will hang out front after and take pictures and stuff like that. That's how I met Brian Posehn. I met John Witherspoon, Tom Green, a bunch of people. But then there were shows like Arsenio Hall. He just went into the green room when the show was over. What's his name? Dave Coulier from Full House. He did the same thing. He just like went back and hid out in the back. But like, dude, Ralphie May went out front, hung out with people. Dude, it's just super, super cool when people do that. Because at the end of the day, those are the people who are making you your money. Hang out with them. Spend some time with them.
Absolutely, dude. Females... I'd love to meet Elise Reed, who's the lead singer of Amaranth.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's the goddamn prettiest woman I've ever seen in my entire life. Facial structure wise, she's just fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet the lead singer of Semblant for many of the same reasons. She's also smoking hot. But I would really like, as far as like sitting down and having a conversation with somebody, Julia Child. I would have loved to have sit down with Julia Child and picked her brain about cooking. Like, God, I would have gotten so much satisfaction out of that.
You know what surprises me about your answers? I was almost positive you were going to say you wanted to smoke a blunt with Kevin Smith and talk about movies and shit.
Yeah, that would be cool too.
I could see you just like sitting in a room, getting high and just discussing shit.
I would also like to talk to Jack Black. You know what I mean? Like there are people like that, but like I don't know.
If you had to choose, yeah.
Yeah, if I had to choose, don't get me wrong, I would be the happiest person on earth if I was sitting around getting fucking stoned with Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's the type of person that if I said some funny shit, it might end up in his movie because he just thought it was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've literally seen people comment funny shit on some of his posts and him being like, dude, I'm absolutely writing that into the script and I will give you a little credit at the end for that.
As a writer, I will say you have to be careful what you say around writers and comedians because if you say some clever shit, we're going to steal it and put it in something.
Yeah. For sure. All right, so another question from Jeff. Do you enjoy putting chips on your sandwich? Oh, God.
Dalton's dying again.
Oh, God, I am dying. I'm an endangered species.
At least you know Dalton swallows.
I do. I stick with things to the end. Do you enjoy putting chips on your sandwich? If so, which do you enjoy putting on it most?
So I did that all the time as a kid. I don't think I've done it any in recent history, but it is good. And to me, as far as what kind of depends on the sandwich. Yep. But like either you always have like, the Lay's original, just plain salted potato chips are great on sandwiches. Barbecue on some sandwiches works pretty good. And sour cream and onion, pretty decent on a sandwich. So what about you? I
agree with all of those. So I'm going to go ahead and just say that like I'm not going to include those because regular Lay's on a turkey sandwich is just chef's kiss.
Oh, yeah.
But the weird one that I've got, and I learned this when I was working at the gas station, right? So you take an egg salad sandwich and you open it up and you put on salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, yeah.
And just the savoriness from the egg salad combined with that tartness from the salt and vinegar chips with the saltiness, dude, it just makes this beautiful flavor combination in your mouth that's just wonderful.
Oh,
and
nice.
I was always like, because I worked at the gas station, I was like, I'm going to eat one of these fucking sandwiches, and if I get sick, I'll just know never to eat it again. And I was fine. And I had a guy come in one time, and he said he had done some work for the dude who owned Dailies, right? And he said that he was like eating the sandwich and stuff one time, and the guy who owned that restaurant was like, "Oh, you like our sandwiches?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." And he's like, "I do too." And he went into the store and bought everyone on the crew a sandwich, including himself, and sat down and he ate it. And he goes, the fact that this high-level dude in this company just went into this random gas station and bought sandwiches and came out and he trusted that they would be good, he goes, made me realize that these are probably okay to eat as long as they're in date. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the big thing, is that's more, you got to worry about whether your gas station is actually rotating their stock or not.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is it actually in date?
Yeah, because I used to be good about that. Like, I was always on top of that shit, but there would be times that I would come in from being in the coming in overnights, and the people who would work there the day like that during that day didn't rotate stock at all.
Oh, yeah. So we apparently have a guest, so I'm going to let him answer the question. Say hello, Stink. You're not going to talk? You're just going to sit in here? You want to answer the question? Do you like potato chips on your sandwich? No. He's shaking his head no. Just say no.
No.
No? Oh, man.
Well, there you go. All right,
there you go. There's the definitive answer.
Oh, yeah. 7-year-old, no potato chips on the sandwich.
And we had a couple questions on Facebook, and then we have a couple questions from Miss Hazel. So we'll do the ones on Facebook first. Let's go. Adam, what is your biggest brush with a celebrity / someone famous? And Adam says, before he was married, he went out with a group of friends to a fancy nightclub in Sydney, and this woman came up and started talking to him. And they flirted and danced, and she ended up coming back to his apartment that night. And they talked for a few weeks afterwards and went out one further time for lunch. And when he asked her what she did for work, she said that she was a child care worker. And later, he found out that she was part of an immensely popular children's entertainment group similar to the Wiggles over in Australia.
Oh, nice.
And he had no idea at the time because he didn't have any children. But later ended up, she apparently is now dating a professional footballer, and they lost touch after that. But what is your biggest brush with a celebrity?
So I've met a lot of celebrities. I've met like Lou Ferrigno, Sam Jones, who was Flash Gordon, Pauly Shore. Like, I was naming a bunch of the comedians I met before. I don't think I've ever like been flirted with celebrities in person. Although, everybody shoots a shot on social media, because why not? But I do have a really awkward story about meeting Tom Green, because our age, all our parents hated Tom Green because he was ridiculous. So I meet Tom Green, and I'm kind of starstruck because I'm like 21, something like that. And my first thing is, man, my mom hates you. And I now understand he pretended that he didn't hear it, because it was fucking rude to say. So me being starstruck and a little dumbfounded, I go, yeah, man, my mom hates you. And he goes, well, that's not very nice. She doesn't even know me. And I was like, when I left, like, I realized what I had said. I'm like, oh, God damn it. That was the dumbest shit for me to say. Like, oh, man. And
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like, oh, dude, I still like, it's one of those cringe memories that get you when you're like laying in bed at night, and it's like, man, Tom Green probably thinks I'm a fucking douchebag, which Tom Green probably doesn't even remember meeting me, but who knows?
He's just like, man, that tall guy with glasses that one time, man, that guy was a fucking asshole.
Yeah, fuck his mom too. Yeah, fuck him and his mom.
I've had like two brushes. One's like way cooler than the other, in my opinion. So when I was super young, and I don't remember how old I was when I was young, dude. I was at Disney World, and I was on this playground near this area where there was like a bunch of like the more professional buildings.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's this girl playing on the playground with me, and we played for a while and talked and having a great time. I had a huge crush on her because she was super pretty. And she ends up getting called away and had to go. And she comes over, gives me a hug, kiss on my cheek, and she leaves. I don't know, 2 years later, 3 years later, I see her show up on TV.
Nice.
On Lizzie McGuire. Apparently, I was hanging out and chilling with Hillary Duff.
Nice.
And I hold that. I'm like, she kissed me on the cheek. Hell yeah.
If you ever get a chance to meet her in real life, you're going to walk up to her table at a con and be like, do you remember when you were little and we were hanging out on the playground? And she's going to be like, security, yeah, please get this man away from me.
No, I've actually gotten pretty, I don't know what it is. Like, I convinced myself at one point that like celebrities are just normal people, so just approach them like normal people. So like I always try not to be the guy who's like, can I get a selfie with you? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like when I was working on the wrestling crew and stuff, I would be like, especially on like the Halloween episodes or the Halloween shows, I'd be like, dude, can I get a picture with you? You look awesome. And I'd get a picture with him, but it was never like, I'm a huge fan, can I get a picture? Like, I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Even though I understand that there are going to be situations in my life where I'm going to do that. If I ever meet, you know, Kevin Smith, I'm bro, can I please get a picture with you? But the second one was me and my buddies were in Orlando, and we went to a concert, and the opening band was Septic Flesh, and then Obscura played, and then Devin Townsend, and then Children of Bodom. Great fucking show. And after the show was over, we're all standing outside the venue, like deciding what we want to go eat, or if we want to just head back to the hotel, or maybe even head back home. I think we weren't staying in a hotel. And these dudes come walking up to us and ask, like, hey, do you know anywhere that's good to eat around here? And I'm looking at them and I'm like, this is Septic Flesh. It's just the dudes from one of the bands that we just saw. They're just like, hey, guys, what's up? Like, is there a good place to eat around here?
Nice.
Is there good food around here? And I'm like, well, we're not really from here, dude. But, like, there's a lot of restaurants, like, 4 blocks that way if you just keep walking that way. And they were like, oh, thank you. And they were all Greek, and they're all way shorter than I thought they would be, but they all looked like they could kick the shit out of all of us. Yes.
Nice.
But they were cool as fuck, dude. They stood there and talked to us for a few minutes. And again, it was like, once they walked away, we were like, oh, fuck, we probably should have asked them for an autograph or something. But it was like, and then again, it was like, but we didn't bother them. That was just a cool little, They came up to, there was no weird fan interaction. It was just like, hey, is there a good place to eat? Yeah, man, right down there. You know, have a good night, guys. Thank you for the show.
Like we've talked about before, I don't like the idea of bum rushing celebrities in public or hounding them for pictures and autographs and stuff. Yeah. Like I said, when we go to the comedy show, like me and my buddy hung out front after the Brian Posehn show, and he came out. We were talking to him because, you know, like, we're all comic nerds, we're all video game nerds. Like, I'm telling him about my store, my buddy's telling him about his comic store. Just talking about random stuff, and I had my ticket stub with me. I was like, hey man, would you mind signing it? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. He signs it for me. And then he's like, you guys want to take a picture? And I was like, sure. So we, like, you know, huddle up, take a picture. And I actually had it printed out and made a little like frame thing with the signed ticket.
Hell yeah.
But like, if he hadn't done that, I wouldn't have like waited out back for 4 hours until he went to leave to hound him for an autograph or something. Like, that's just not who I am. Like, you were talking about the Undertaker being in Walmart. I'm not going to chase him down in Walmart and be like, oh my God, I love you so much. Can I have your autograph? Can I take a picture? Blah, blah, blah. Like, cause you draw attention to a person who's just trying to live their life, and then all of a sudden they're swamped by people. And I imagine that's extremely stressful. Like, I wouldn't want to be at Walmart trying to, you know, buy my wife tampons and some Hot Pockets or some shit and have to deal with 80 people running up, hounding me for autographs, pictures, and grabbing on me and all of that stuff. So I will say, I guess I could technically count my Mankind story as a brush with a celebrity. Like my Mick Foley story. I've told that before. I won't bother telling that again. Go back and listen to like the first or second podcast for that one. But yeah, I still want that other handshake.
I guess you could count it. I was at a fest when I was working on the ring crew for Fest. We were doing a show in St. Augustine, and one of the main eventers, because she was the Fest champion at the time, was Sue Young, who is now, I think, wrestling for Impact or something like that. But anyway, her husband at the time was the cruiserweight champion for WWE, Rich Swann. And I'm standing there, I'm behind this curtain, and I'm watching this match going on and everything, and somebody walks up next to me, and they're watching the show standing next to me, and I'm just watching, and I was like, damn, it's a pretty good match, huh? And I turned to look, it was fucking Rich Swann. I was like, oh, fuck, I watched you on TV Monday.
Nice.
Sup, dude? And he was just like, yeah, man, this is a pretty good match. And I was just like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, Sue's my wife. And I went, oh, okay. And I like in my head, I was like, okay, keep cool.
Oh,
just keep cool, man. He's just another dude. And it was cool. We just sat there, we watched the match together and stuff. And then Ryan comes up to me later, and Ryan's like, bro, do you know who that was? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what the fuck? What's he doing here? I was like, he's Sue's wife. What? Like, it was a funny fucking night.
I will say, I have loose friends, I guess you could say, with Anthony Kerrigan. Got to hang out with him for a day. He came out to sign comics and pictures and stuff at my buddy's comic book store. He was in like he was the Mist in the Flash CW show. He was Victor Zsasz in Gotham. Now he's a lot more widely known. He's NoHo Hank in the HBO show Barry. He was in a Kevin Hart movie, the one where his wife had a baby and passed away, and he was having to raise the baby by himself. He's the bald friend of Kevin Hart in the movie that says awkward shit a bunch of times. Like he has alopecia, so he's huge supporter in the alopecia community. Dude's genuinely a stand-up guy. I'm proud to say that I know him. I've hung out with him. Super proud of all his accomplishments. To watch him go from doing smaller TV bits to actually being he was nominated for an Emmy, I think they get for TV shows.
Yeah. For
best supporting actor on Barry. Like, dude's going places. He was on Jimmy Fallon pretty recently. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. But like I said, I have friends like that who are doing big things in Hollywood. I don't try to bother them a lot because I know they're super busy. I know they're constantly being hounded by people. Just kind of sit back and watch their careers evolve. But
yeah. Man, I'm surprised both of us got through that without tripping over all those names we just dropped.
Yeah.
So I hope I pronounced this person's name right. Veit Christensen or Christian.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Chris.
he wants to know
Chris.
why The Last Jedi sucks and why I continue to be wrong about liking it.
Oh yeah, he's probably talking to me. He's one of those people who thinks The Last Jedi sucks.
Apparently so.
Because he doesn't know anything. He's Canadian, so you have to forgive him. Even though he's from Hungary, he lives in Canada, so he's Canadian. He doesn't know anything. So yeah, forget about him.
All right, and then we have another.
I like The Last Jedi. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I think it's an all right movie. Like when I watched it, it was fine. I've only seen it once, but I mean, I didn't hate it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have the nostalgia for the earlier movies. My favorite movie is The Phantom Menace, so fight me. Chris Atkinson wants to know, why do people think The Office is funny?
Because it is funny. It's very dry humor. It's very stemmed from, The Office was originally a British show, and they made an American version of it that was a lot more successful, but I still think it pulls from that dry British humor. But there's hilarious. I sent you a clip the other day about where Jim, it was an episode where Jim had a dentist appointment. So they had one of their actor friends come to the office and pretend to be Jim to screw with Dwight. And they actually took a new family photo and put it on his desk of this new guy. So Dwight's like, you're not Jim. Stop pretending to be Jim. And Pam walks up and is like, "Oh, hey, Jim, how's such and such go?" And he's like, "Oh, it went great." And he's like, "You're not Jim." He picks up the family photo. He's like, "This is Jim," and points at it. And everybody, they start looking at him funny. He turns the picture around and it's the guy who's sitting at the desk. He's like, starts getting all flustered. Dude, the show has its funny bits, but yeah, it's a particular brand of comedy that it's very divisive. Either you like it or you don't.
Yeah, I didn't like it when I first started watching it back in the day, but now I really appreciate it for what it is. I know the scene that hooked me was Dwight coming into the office, and he walks over to his desk, and Jim's got a shit-eating grin on his face, and Dwight's entire desk and stuff is wrapped in wrapping paper, and his seats and chairs wrapped in wrapping paper. Yeah. And he goes, "Joke's on you. I like opening presents." And he goes to sit down in his chair, and he throws his briefcase down. And they all just collapse because it's just paper in the shape of his chair and desk. And he just eats it in the floor, and Jim just keeps smiling. And it's the funniest fucking scene.
Oh, yeah. And that's my thing is The Office, like if you sit down and try to watch a random episode, it's going to be really hard to get into. But if you sit down and like watch through it and you kind of learn the characters, you learn how their relationships are and stuff, it's a lot funnier.
Yeah, I say the same thing about Trailer Park Boys. Like, you will get a lot more out of Trailer Park Boys if you watch through that first season where they're really doing a lot of character introduction. It's a kind of a boring season. There's some funny stuff that happens, and it gets better as it goes, but that's because you learn to love those characters.
You build a relationship with these characters, and you kind of learn, like, how they, like I said, how they interact with each other, how their personalities work and all that, and it's like you almost get invested in it to where it makes it a little bit better for you. But like I said, a lot of people are like that with Game of Thrones. When I first watched Game of Thrones, it was like 4 or 5 seasons in. And a buddy of mine I work with kept talking about it. And I was like, oh, I'm not really super into like medieval era stuff. He's like, watch 3 episodes. He's like, if you don't like it after 3 episodes, you're not going to like it at all. But watch 3 episodes. And like, of course, it's almost like you're indoctrinating yourself to it. But yeah, like I watched a few episodes and I was like, yeah, this is really good. So just stuck with it.
Okay, we got 3 questions left, sir. From Miss Hazel. She wants to know who gets unnecessary hate.
The Last Jedi. I will go further to say, the girl, what's her name? She played Rose in The Last Jedi, and people literally like were sending her such hateful shit that she deleted all her social media and stuff.
I have no idea.
I think that's bullshit. I don't think you should be attacking actors on the internet because you didn't like the role they played in a movie. What was her name? Kelly Marie Tran. Like, yeah, I think that's bullshit. Don't attack people because you didn't like the character they portrayed in a TV show or movie.
Yeah, I can get that.
Trying to think. That. There was another one I had, but it slipped my mind now. I can't think of it.
I think the WWE gets unnecessary hate. And hear me out, because I know that they do some shit that pisses people off. But when it comes to when they release wrestlers, like, they get shit on a lot, right, for releasing wrestlers and stuff. But at the end of the day, A, it's a business thing. But B, really, if they don't have anything for those wrestlers creatively, like they don't have anything, it's like they can either keep them on contract and pay them, and those people are going to be miserable because they can't go out and do their craft, or they can release them and they can go to another company or go on the indies. So they can go to another company and maybe get on TV and have a new character and stuff like that. Or they can go to the indies, and because they've been on TV and maybe been a champion, but because they've been on TV, they are now have a significantly higher asking price. Oh, yeah. So they can go out and make a lot more money.
Yep.
So it just comes down to business. It's not because like, oh, they fucking must hate this person because they let them go. It's like, no, dude, it's business. I guarantee if that person goes out and, as they say, quote unquote, goes somewhere new and learns a new hold, and then comes, look at Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
He's huge now. And all he had to do is he went away for a couple years, learned a couple new holds, as they say, and he came back. Now he's a megastar.
Well, I will say for Cody, at least, he went to AEW, and didn't he make a big thing about, like, I'm not going back to the WWE, I'm AEW for life, and then
until
went back to WWE.
people started getting paid more money than him, and he was one of the people who helped found the company.
And that was my thing about it too, is I told somebody, I was like, I don't fault the guy, because I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon said, "Hey Cody, I'll pay you double what you're making now. Come back to WWE." Why wouldn't you take the money in a career that, I mean, you have some lifetimers like Taker and Stone Cold and stuff. Most of those guys are not going to have 40-year careers. They're going to beat and batter their bodies, and then they're going to be largely forgotten. So why not take the money and run?
Fuck, bro. Stone Cold was active for 8 years.
Yep.
Just about 8 years or so in the WWE. That's it.
Yep.
And he's left a lasting impact. You know what I mean? But all those guys made their money on merch back in those days. But that's a whole nother story. But the thing with the thing with Cody, though, was
for every Stone Cold, how many WWE stars have retired or gotten let go or whatever, and nobody remembers them anymore?
Oh, there's plenty.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a wrestling historian or you just like to know that stuff. But I mean, there's plenty of them. Cody, the thing with him was he was in AEW. He was one of the people who helped start AEW, and he was one of the reasons that people even give a shit about AEW in the beginning. And then AEW started bringing in like Bryan Danielson and bringing in CM Punk and all these other people and paying them more. And Cody basically told Tony Khan, "I want to make CM Punk money."
Oh yeah.
And he got told no. His contract was not, they said no. So he said, okay. And he went to somewhere where he can go make Punk money.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, Vince McMahon will pay me CM Punk money."
Goddamn right.
I mean, and Paul White did the same thing with WCW. He was making like $100,000, and they signed Goldberg to like $1 million contract. And he was like, "Dude," he's like, I'm a headliner. I've been here since the start. Why are you paying this dude so much more than me?" And Ted was like, "Take it or leave it." And so he said, "Hey, Vince, what do you pay me?" And Vince said, I'll pay you more. And okay, I'll go to WWF then.
Yep. Fuck. And I don't blame him. You know what I mean?
Nope. It sucks to help build a company like that and then get told, "Sit down and shut up and take what we give you," when you helped create that brand and make it what it is.
That's like, I mean, I love doing this show. I love doing the Steam Machine podcast. I love doing the JRPG Report. Somebody came to me and was like, "Hey man, we'll give you $200,000 a year to do this podcast, but you can only do this podcast." I love you all, but sorry, I'm going to do that show. Like,
yep, I don't blame you one bit.
I'll come guest on the other ones, or I guess the other two would probably die. I would have faith in you to find somebody to replace me on this, but like Steam Machine, I started that shit, so I don't think that would die with me.
Oh yeah.
But I would take it.
I'm lazy as shit, so I'd probably kill this one off too.
Man, let's throw me $5,000. We'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Hazel's second question is, how do you keep positive?
I will say, before we get into that one, I did remember my other person who gets unnecessary hate. And it's a hot take for football fans, but I think Tom Brady gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I used to hate Tom Brady until the Super Bowl against the Falcons. And I sat down and thought about it. I was like, dude, this guy is so hated for being the best there is at what he does. Like, yeah, there was some scandals and shit in New England. Yeah, he was kind of fucked up where he like knocked up his girlfriend and then left her to marry Giselle. But I'm sure he's paying her a very fucking hefty amount of child support. Like the dude gets hated because he's really good at what he does. So yeah, I think that's probably a hot take, but I think Tom Brady gets unnecessary hate.
Okay. You want to go hot takes? It's not the case anymore, but it still has to do with wrestling. Roman Reigns got unnecessary hate for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And it was because, and Mike, I know Mike is just like, I don't have to like Roman. You can't make me like Roman. But I remember when everybody started hating Roman Reigns, and I watched it happen through my buddy Ryan. Everyone liked the Shield. They liked Roman Reigns. And then Daniel Bryan, excuse me, back then, was in a Royal Rumble. And everyone wanted him to win. And he got eliminated like super quick. And everyone was super pissed off. So they booed everyone that came out after that. Like Rey Mysterio was getting booed and shit. Roman Reigns won that Royal Rumble. And dude, it could have been fucking Jesus that won that Royal Rumble. It wasn't Daniel Bryan. They hated whoever won. And from then on, it became this, well, they're trying to shove Roman down our throat. And it was like, no, they're pushing Roman as a top guy like they do everyone else who's ever been a fucking top guy. The problem is, it's not the guy that you guys want, so you're rebelling against it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then in the long run, there was this build where Daniel Bryan became the champion. You know what I mean? But it's a double-edged sword because sometimes they don't see it in somebody until the crowd reacts that way, right?
Yep.
But also, you can't blame the wrestler for the push that he's getting because, like,
I mean, it goes back to what I was saying about you can't blame the actor for the writers. Like, you can't blame the wrestler for the writers. Like, they wrote that Royal Rumble for Roman Reigns to win. Just because somebody you liked more didn't win it doesn't mean that the guy who won it is a bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And I remember being like, when Roman Reigns came out and broke character and told everybody that he had leukemia and he had to leave TV for a while to go get it treated and stuff. I put out a post that was like, how can people still boo this dude? And I remember Mike commenting and being like, I mean, I feel bad for the guy and I hope he gets better and everything, but I don't have to like him.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's completely fair. I'm not saying you have to like him, but I just, the people who booed him just because it's like John Cena.
Oh yeah,
people shit all over John Cena, and it's like it's because again that's the Tom Brady thing. Because like name somebody who's drawn money like John Cena since he's come out. Like, you know, there was The Rock, there was Stone Cold before that, there was Hogan, Andre, and all that. But then like my generation, dude, it was Cena, and there's no arguing that.
And see, I was a little ahead of that, so I never really liked Cena. I didn't like his character in WWE. That being said, now that he's an actor, dude's got some fucking chops. Like, dude, Peacemaker was amazing. I didn't think I'd like it because I hated his character in the Suicide Squad movie. But the show was fucking amazing. Dude's got some depth, some range. He was in a Hulu movie called Vacation Friends. It's absolutely fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's a funny motherfucker.
Basically, it's him and this, I forget who the actress is, but like, I can't even remember the other guy. But this couple goes on vacation. They're kind of like uptight, you know, hoity-toity business types. They go on vacation to wherever, and they had rented like this big presidential suite or whatever because it was their, like, not their honeymoon, but like a pre-wedding vacation or something. And they get there, and John Cena and his wife have their room, and they're like, no, it's cool. Cause like the hotel's completely booked. There's nowhere. They're like, you can share with us. They're fucking Florida man and Florida woman. They're like free spirited, don't give a shit about anything. Like, just go fucking wild and crazy. Like, rented a jet ski and crashed it. Like, just fucking Florida people. But like, they're good, kind hearted people. And like, the movie is fucking hilarious. And that movie really told me, like, man, like, John Cena, the actor, I think I could get behind this dude. I like this dude as an actor.
Hell yeah.
So I rescinded some of my hate towards him because and he'll tell you as a wrestler, he's like, you know, it was a gimmick they saddled me with. He's like, I didn't particularly like it when I first got it, but I went with it and it made me who I am. So I can't be mad at it. But yeah, like, he didn't even really like the, you know, the jean short white rapper character they built for him, but it worked for him. It springboarded him.
The funniest shit about that is that whole character came up because they were backstage and Stephanie McMahon heard him freestyle rapping, just fucking around, and they were like, "Oh, let's make this a whole character." And he's like, "I gotta go rap in front of all these people now." God, but yeah, dude. So how do you keep positive? That's Hazel's second question.
Anyone who knows me knows that I don't. Like, I'm a pretty negative person most of the time. But yeah, like, if I was to give advice for that, I would say, as Dalton dies over here, he's falling apart, it looks like.
Back pain.
I know a lot of people say, like, don't focus on what you don't have, focus on what you do have. You know, don't focus on the bad things that are happening, focus on the good things that are happening. Like, there's a quote. I gotta do some math calculations to make sure I get the quote right. Let's see. So if you had $1,440 in the bank and you lost $10 of it. Would you throw the remaining $14.30 away? It's like, no. Well, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. So if you have a bad 10 minutes, don't let it ruin the other 1,430 minutes of the day. Like I said, this is all cheesy nonsense that personally I've never had work, because sometimes you have a bad day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's stuff you can try. Plus, I will say music for me at least can alter my mood both ways. Yeah. Watch some funny ass videos, because sometimes like listening to a funny podcast or watching funny videos will cheer me up when I'm like in my headspace. Some people like to play video games. Like, find something that cheers you up and just enjoy it, and don't give a shit what anybody else has to say about it. And I can't stress enough the importance of me time. Like, set time for yourself where you get to just do what you want to do and without worrying about anything else.
Word up. Yeah, I agree, man. I'm an advocate for masturbation.
That helps sometimes.
The urge to kill is always suppressed with a good nut. I basically stay positive by, like, I get my aggression out doing my music. So, like, I'll do a vocal cover or two. It's just some heavy fucking metal and just get my aggression out by screaming. Primal scream therapy, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'll put on YouTube and watch something funny. There's certain playlists I have on YouTube that I've watched those videos 100 times, but I put them on because it's like comforting. You know what I mean? I've heard the jokes before, but I know I'm going to laugh at them again. That kind of thing. And also, like, I just always try to remember that, like, somebody out there's got it worse. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The other day, I sent you it's funny that this question got asked, because the other day I sent you a screenshot of a conversation with a friend of mine, how, like, she's always super fucking negative anytime I talk to her.
Yeah.
She sends me a message last night. My boyfriend's a fucking dick. I was like, well, why are you still with him then? Right?
Yep.
I don't know. Well, what did he do? And she sends me a screenshot of her basically saying, like, oh, I'm in such a bad mood. Work sucked. And her boyfriend basically said, yeah, I don't want to hear it. And she was like, how could you say that? And he was like, because you tell me every day after work. He's like, that it sucked and you hated it and that you're sore. He's like, I just have learned to assume that that's how you feel after work. And she writes him back, you're an asshole. And I was like, now, he might have not worded that the nicest, but I absolutely agree where he's coming from.
Polished that a little bit better. But I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like in a relationship, it's kind of your place to sort of just be like, oh, that sucks. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. But like you said, I do understand that at the end of the day, when somebody has the same complaint every single day, it's like if you put your hand on the stove and the eye of the stove is hot, do you pull your hand away or do you leave it there and complain to somebody about how much your hand is burning? Yeah. So, but I mean, that's not one for one, because you can't just quit a job because it sucks. So, yeah. But I mean, it boils down to that thing like we were talking about. Find a hobby that you enjoy. So, like, you know, my job is not the worst job in the world by any means, but it's frustrating. It sucks sometimes, especially with my mindset that I have. Little things can blow up to a big deal for me. But, like, I'll find something that I can sort of detach myself from reality and just sort of burrow myself into this thing, and it helps. Like, my prime example, I was having kind of a bad day the other day, and I pull up at home, and Jen and Jonathan are outside. Jonathan sees me pull up and gets like a big grin on his face and runs over to the door of the car, opens my door, and is like, hey, Daddy, I missed you. And I'm like, that kind of shit will make you feel better. Yeah. Because, like, it's having a shitty day, but then coming home and somebody's excited to see you to the point they run over to your car. That will make you feel better. I'm not telling people out there, if you're sad, go have a child, because that's not good advice at all.
But I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Find joy in simple things.
I mean, I get that joy when I come home and my dog is happy to see me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? As little as that may seem, like, I'm always happy to see her little wagging tail and her little smiling face looking at me.
Something else I will say, because I fought depression pretty badly a couple weeks ago, and I was going to the gym and I found this so like watching the little TikTok style videos on Facebook, and I found one that had like a motivational speech behind it. And I was like, So I went on Spotify and just looked up like motivational speeches set to hip hop music. And there was a playlist of it. And like while I'm on the treadmill, I just turned it on and listening to that for like 30 minutes. I was like, you know what? These motherfuckers are right. Like, it's up to me to make my life worth living. Like, I gotta fucking get my shit in gear. And that, for some reason, really helped me kind of focus on, look, I gotta change some shit. I gotta make things better because nobody's gonna make things better for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. All right. Because I am in searing pain right now, let's get this last question in and then let's right. Roll. So Hazel's last question is Bitcoin just an MLM for men?
Yes, to the point that I actually made a meme a few months back that said cryptocurrency is LuLaRoe for bros. Like, that's all it is. It's MLMs and crypto and a lot of other stuff, NFTs, other graded video games at this point. It all falls on the bigger idiot theory. You have to find somebody dumber than you to sell this shit to make money. And eventually you're going to find the dumbest one, and that dumbest one's going to get screwed because they're not going to have anybody that's going to pay them more for it. Like, crypto is to the point now, it's steady crashing because NFTs have hurt it really bad, just purely from a PR standpoint, if nothing else.
Whenever that boom was going on, I threw $40 just at some crypto, and I ended up making a bunch of money. Not a ton. Like, I didn't get rich or anything, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody because it was so volatile. Like, one day I'm up $200, the next day I'm down 150. You know what I mean? It was wild.
I mean, you look at like NFT bullshit where they have this Bored Ape Yacht Club thing or whatever. The fucking website that runs NFT stuff got hacked and lost millions of dollars worth of quote unquote assets. And people are bitching. Yeah, people are bitching and complaining like, oh, we got to figure a way to get this money back. It's like, guess what? You were the one bragging about how it was decentralized and the government had nothing to do with it. And like, decentralized means when somebody steals your shit, it's gone. It's theirs now. Doesn't belong to you anymore. So suck it up, Buttercup. Fucking deal with it. You paid $1 million for a picture of a fucking crudely drawn ape. You're an idiot and you deserve to lose your money.
Yeah. Actually, the guy I was talking about earlier, Matt Barton, we were having a discussion in his Discord about NFTs and how they're trying to get into gaming and things like that. And he was kind of just trying to because he's kind of just learning about them. So he's kind of getting our information and our input about it. And he's like, is it just me or do a lot of these NFTs that people are selling look like crudely drawn versions of like 80s cereal box characters?
More or less, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's basically what it is.
Be one thing if this was like some Rembrandt or Picasso level art. This is literally shit like a 12-year-old could draw in Microsoft Paint while he's bored in computer class at school. Like, it's just fucking garbage.
Yeah, and it sells for so much money, it's stupid.
Yep.
Fucking A. Well, on that note, brother, let's run through the wrap up, the house cleaning, as I like to call it. If you'd like to send us an email, like if you want to ask a question but you don't want your name read out, or if you just don't have social media and you'd like to write in a question for the show, yetanother@gmail.com. Shoot us over an email. I do check that weekly to see if there's anything in there, and it's kind of lonely, so send an email.
We've gotten a bunch of solicitations for people to help us increase our listenership, but that's about it.
Yeah. If social media is more of your thing, you can find us at facebook.com/groups/yetanotherBSpodcast. And each week we put up a post for community questions. That's where we usually draw most of our questions from.
Yeah. I think I'm going to start posting them on Thursdays now. So every Thursday, look for a crudely photoshopped picture of Dalton and my heads on some random picture.
There you go. And if Twitter is more your thing, you can find the show at YabsPod, YABSPOD. Or you can find Jeremy at Just Call Me Jezza, or you can find me at Super Nerd Dalton. If you want to check out the website where we post the episodes and also the show notes, some links to the song, I usually embed the songs that we mentioned, things like that. It's yabspod.wordpress.com. And other than that, man, if you if you want to check out some more of my stuff, I am a co-host on the Steam Machine podcast, which is a PC gaming podcast. I am the host of the JRPG Report, which is a weekly JRPG news show. And if you like our intro music and outro music, I make music, nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. Yeah.
And I will eventually start streaming video games. I was going to do it today until I ended up with a sick child stuck at home with me. If you want to find me on Twitter and follow me, just in case that ever does happen, I am on, not Twitter, Twitch. I hate those two. I always get them confused. On Twitch at Mighty Thoramy. So it's Mighty Thor with an EMY on the end.
Go give him a follow. Get them numbers up.
You can follow Dalton on Twitch too. He used to be a streamer until he started making money doing it, and then he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with me? I don't know why.
Never turn a hobby into a career, because then it sucks. It's fun when you just do it for fun. When you start making money from it, there's all this pressure on it, and you just don't want to do it anymore. Yeah,
my main thing is, like, if I could smoke bowls while I was streaming, I'd be fine, because I like to smoke a bowl while I'm playing my games.
That's why you just turn the face camera off and just have your gameplay footage, and then just do whatever you want.
That's very true.
Like, trust me, nobody wants to look at this while I'm streaming.
I know. Right?
I don't need to block the stream with this.
I got 3 chins that people could check out while I'm fucking doing my thing. But yeah, man. Check us out. We'll be back next week with some more topics, fans, questions, all that types of shit. Thank you for checking out Yabs Pod. Thank you for listening. I'm going to go lay down because my arm is fucking killing me. So for Jeremy, I'm Dalton. And as always, guys, take it easy.
And fuck Amber Heard.
Yeah.